Grid for today's Brickyard 400. Tony Stewart, Rushville or Columbus, Indiana, considers both hometowns, alongside Bill Elliott on the front row.
On the inside of row 2 is Dale Earnhardt Jr., who last year, a collision on pit road cost him a chance at victory. And Robbie Gordon on the outside.
Another Indiana boy, Ryan Newman from South Bend, will share row 3 with Steve Park, coming back from the terrible crash at Pocono last week.
There's Kevin Harvick and Sterling Marlin in row 4.
Marlin, the championship leader, the second-place man in points, Mark Martin, starts the position behind him in row 5 with Joe Nemechek.
On the inside of row 6, Johnny Benson, a driver who finished 3rd last year and runs very well at this racetrack.
Mike Skinner and Michael Waltrip, the Daytona 500 winner, share row number 7.
Jimmy Spencer and John Andretti, couple of Dodgers in row 8.
Dale Jarrett's won the Brickyard 400 twice, 1996 and 99. He's back in row number 9 with Matt Kenseth. There's Ward Burton along with Todd Bodine in row number 10. Ward, the winner of this year's Daytona 500. And Jeff Gordon, 31 years old today. He's back in row number 11. He came from 27th to win here last year. He starts 21st today.
On the inside of row 12 is Jeff Burton. Let's talk to him on our NBC radio. Jeff Burton, Benny Parsons. How's the car?
Well, Benny, we were real fast on new tires. We thought we were giving up a little too much on old tires. So we made some changes this morning, trying to make the Citgo Taurus go really good on a long run. I suspect you'll see a lot of long runs today, and we needed to be better there. So I hope we made the right changes. Like I said, we were just too fast to start, so we had to give up something, and we're going to give some of that up, hoping to get it at the end.
This is the same car used last week at Pocono, correct?
We didn't test this car here, but we ran so well with it at Pocono that we decided to bring it, and it's been good. It's not been great, but it's been good. As good as my guys are, I'm sure we got some good stuff under it. Trying to get this thing to the front.
Good luck to you, Jeff.
Jeff Burton, who will take the green flag for the Brickyard 400 in row number 12. While you look at the rest of the starting grid, let's mention 4 drivers will have to drop to the rear on these pace laps. You can see them top right of your picture. They are Mike Skinner, Jeff Green, Bobby Hamilton, and Mike Wallace. All made engine changes. That's a violation of NASCAR's 1 engine per weekend rule. That means you've got to start at the back of the pack. Obviously, Mike Wallace starting last already. He's not really giving up a lot.
He doesn't have to go too far.
7 drivers failed to qualify for the Brickyard 400. There they are. And as the field comes off of turn number 4, this time they will see the 1 to go signal. Next time by the green will wave. Let's check down on pit road for some final stories. And we begin with Marty Snyder.
Alan, it's already been a very long day for Kevin Harvick, who woke up at 6 a.m. this morning feeling very ill. Went to the infield care center. Turns out Kevin has food poisoning. Spent some time in there. They rehydrated him. He does feel much better. But I asked him, do you have a backup driver for today? And he laughed. He said, are you kidding me? It's the Brickyard 400. There's no way anybody's getting in my car today. Matt Yoakum.
Marty, as a little kid, Jimmy Johnson dreamed of one day following the footsteps of A.J. Foyt, Gordon Johncock, and Rick Mears, walking from Gasoline Alley underneath the Gasoline Alley arch out to pit road to his race car. He accomplished that today, proving you can even get goosebumps when it's 105 degrees. Now he's trying to win the race. He was a second and a half off the lead cars in happy hour. They've closed that to about half a second. Chad Knaus told me they're gambling on that last half second. His car owner, Jeff Gordon, won from 27th last year. They're trying to break that today and win from 37th. Dave Burns.
Matt, right behind him in 38th will start Kurt Busch. He had a spin in his qualifying lap, and he had to take a provisional starting spot. I asked him this morning what it meant to start at the Brickyard 400, and he said, I don't want anything to go wrong. I just want everything to go smoothly. This is so big. Last year, he qualified 34th and finished 5th, so he passed a lot of cars. And today's his birthday, but they didn't make him his favorite cake. It's an ice cream cake, and they didn't want to go there in this weather. Marty?
Dave, I'll take some ice cream because the temperature out here is smoking. It's very hot here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Let's check the temperature on the ground, and you take it about 1 inch off the racing surface. 134.5 is the temperature on the racing surface. The drivers will have to combat the heat today. That was a big subject in the garage area this morning, how to stay cool for drivers. Many drivers started hydrating on Thursday, getting fluids in their bodies so they won't get too hot inside the car today. Alan?
You know, it's not just a thing for the drivers either.
It's for the crews as well, because they're on pit road under almost the same intensity the drivers are under, although it may not be quite as hot inside the pit area. But these guys with those thick uniforms, it's going to be a miserable day for them.
It's really hard to get air in these cars. You've got the side window here at Indianapolis, and there's just no air that gets into them. So it's going to be an issue today. There's no doubt about it. And that track temperature, 135 degrees, that's probably going to go up. So it's going to be brutal. A lot of these drivers' seats are right over the header, so you're going to get a lot of heat there.
The winner's share of that $7 million purse is a little bit over $300,000 plus bonuses that can be won. You see, it'll take 160 laps to make up the 400 miles. And the big number, you see the pit windows down the bottom. Some teams feel they can get to 40 laps on fuel.
Well, if they can, that means they're going to cut out a pit stop.
So that could be important. Better than 275,000 fans have been coming into the Indianapolis Motor Speedway since before sunup today. They've all come to see whose name goes on the bricks at the end of the day as the winner of the 9th Brickyard 400. Tony Stewart is on the pole. Bill Elliott is alongside. The fans come to their feet. The pace car heads for pit road, and we are ready to start the 9th running of the Brickyard 400 at Indianapolis. Here they come to the green.
Tony Stewart last night was very upset with his car. Almost contact between he and Bill Elliott as Elliott tried to get to the bottom of the racetrack in turn 1.
Those guys know that's what they have to do. They need to get to the bottom, especially on these first few laps. The bottom lane is going to be the fast lane.
This first lap always especially tense at Indianapolis.
Looked like they're 2-3 wide down the backstretch. Mark Martin on the inside of Sterling Marlin as both of them try to get gain on Steve Park.
Robbie Gordon wide. Here's Dale Earnhardt Jr. for third.
Ryan Newman goes by Robbie Gordon, takes the spot away.
Tony Stewart will lead lap number 1. Bill Elliott settles into second. Dale Earnhardt Jr. third on the break. Then Ryan Newman and Robbie Gordon. And you've got Kevin Harvick, Mark Martin, Steve Park, Johnny Benson, and Sterling Marlin.
And here comes Bill Elliott. The talk in the garage area this morning, the 9 car is the class of the field. But can he keep it together for 400 miles? He did last week for 475 miles at Pocono. Matt, what did you hear about the 9 car?
Well, Benny, polling a number of crew chiefs like you did this morning, they all point to the 9 car as the one to beat. But I talked to Mike Ford, Bill's crew chief. He said their car is extremely fast on the short run. Where they've tried to improve the car is on the long run because it falls off too quickly.
And the other weakness that Bill Elliott's team may have today is fuel mileage. Remember last week, if you were with us on our broadcast from Pocono, another big, flat 2.5-mile track, they had to pit earlier than everyone. If the race goes green for a long time, that shortage of fuel mileage might hurt Elliott's chances today.
If someone can run 40 laps on a tank of fuel, they can make this race on 3 stops. Another driver, Bill Elliott, we know cannot do that. He will have to stop 4 times. Here comes Jeff Gordon. You see trying to get on the inside of Ward Burton. That's back for
15th and 16th, BP.
Well, Jeff Gordon's made a great march toward the front.
Here's Bill Elliott as Tony Stewart moves low to block. Gordon started 21st, by the way, BP.
Bill Elliott's car looks really, really good behind Tony Stewart. He's not getting any of that aero push that we've been talking about so much yet. The key here is if you can keep the car down on the bottom, especially when you get right in the middle of the corner, and you can pull up beside somebody in the short chute, that's where you're going to do a lot of your passing. Right here, if your car is strong from this point off out, and you can turn underneath somebody, you've got a really good race car. Elliott's hanging real well.
And aero push is a term the racers use a lot at a racetrack that's fast like this.
Aerodynamic push. 20 cars going through the air. We see Bill Elliott trying to get alongside. The 20 cars going through the air, and the air does not come back on the nose of the 9 car like it would if he was by himself. So therefore, he's not getting the downforce that he needs on the front of that car to push it down and aid the car in turning. Aerodynamically aid the car in turning. So therefore, they called it an aerodynamic push, or shorten it to aero push.
You see they put a pretty good gap on third place Dale Earnhardt Jr. Stewart and Elliott have. Got it by about 1.9 seconds last time they went by the start-finish line. Here's Mark Martin starting to work on Robbie Gordon. That'd be for 5th place. Martin in the 6, Gordon in the 31. Robbie ran the Indianapolis 500-mile race at this track back in May. Wow, look at Mark close on him.
Yeah, he got off the 4 real well.
A terrific run on Robbie Gordon. And there's nothing Robbie Gordon can do except when he gets to the corner, back off and let that 6 car go, pull in behind him. And hope that he might slip up the hill, get off the throttle, and you can pass it back. It did not happen with Mark Martin.
This race could be important on Mark if he can gain some points back on Sterling Marlin. Again, referring back to last week at Pocono, Martin's team had an electrical problem, had to stop and change a battery, and he lost about 51 points in the championship to Sterling. He was only 55 behind going in, so he doubled his deficit to the leader. Checking on Jeff Gordon, 3-time Brickyard 400 winner. He's working on Matt Kenseth in the 17, and Matt's running 17th. Check that. Looks like to me Kenseth has just passed Jeff Gordon, so he gave up one of the spots that he had gained.
The 17 car, Matt Kenseth, that's another name that crew chiefs talked about when they talked about a fast car.
So we are cleanly through the opening 7 laps of the 9th running of the Brickyard 400. Tony Stewart is the leader. The massive Indianapolis Motor Speedway, site of today's 9th running of the Brickyard 400, as you see it live on NBC. You know, the Indianapolis Colts of the NFL play just across town in the RCA Dome. That stadium pales in comparison to this. Our Circuit City track fact, you can put 44 NFL football fields within this racetrack's infield. Even got 4 golf holes in there. Part of the Brickyard Crossing Championship golf course that's here on the racetrack grounds. Got us a nice little duel for the race lead.
Yeah, he's been working on, sorry, BP, he's been working on him. And what we talked about earlier, see how he cut underneath him getting off the corner? You get on the inside, that's the place to be.
And Tony Stewart is going to try to go in the corner on the outside, make Elliott lift. Bill is having no part of it. He's still right there.
Now he's got to give.
And Stewart hangs on to the lead.
That's pretty strong.
How many times do you see side? Oh, there's trouble. Brett Bodine and Mike Wallace off turn 2. Caution. First caution of the race. They were running 39th and 40th, respectively.
Boy, Brett's got another car on fire.
Another car on fire. He's trying to get the thing started. That was fire out the exhaust on that car and heavy damage to Mike Wallace's car.
Mike driving for A.J. Foyt in that number 14. Got the very last starting spot in the field.
Hit the softer barrier. Looks like just off the exit of 2 there. That'd be the first one, right?
Yeah.
First stock car.
There have been no crashes in any of the testing that was held here over the last month. No crashes in Friday's practice or yesterday's practice and qualifying.
Just about peeled the sheet metal or the skin off the 11 car. Obviously, you can see that.
And there's the impact. Safer barriers, steel and foam energy reduction. Hopefully cushioning the blow for whichever of the 2 hit the outside wall, if not both of them.
Take a look and we can see exactly what happened. Well, that's inconclusive. The crash had already started. Now, what caused it to start? See Ted Musgrave going by, Bobby Hamilton, the 55 car, and Kenny Wallace. Another shot.
Ooh, Mike Wallace just went straight right.
Yeah, he was coming off a 2 there, and it looked like something either broke or he had a tire go down. Whenever a car shoots up to the wall like that, that's very unusual. Boy, he went right in.
Brett Bodine makes the left turn into the garage. There you see the track officials inspecting the foam behind that barrier to make sure no repairs are needed. And pit road is going to get busy.
That's amazing.
I'll tell you what, these pits look a lot more narrow than it was on that EA Sports deal.
Oh, they do, don't they?
Just 11 laps complete and almost the entire field is in. Matt?
Bill Elliott comes into pit road in the second position. A gas and go only for Bill Elliott. He was extremely happy with his race car. Meanwhile, the 6, he wanted to tighten up his race car. A half a round of bite is Snyder.
Tony Stewart with a 2-tire change, and he races his way off pit road. Got a fresh water bottle. No chassis adjustments for the leader.
See Jeremy Mayfield back changing right sides on his car. And he will join the parade as all these cars exit pit road.
We talk about strategy differences there.
Wow.
2 tires, 4 tires, no tires.
And you wonder why all these cars would pit just 12 laps into the race. Dave, what's happening with the Jimmy Johnson car?
Well, he had to pit, Benny, because of a couple of problems. First of all, he was very, very tight. They pulled a spring rubber out of the left rear to try to fix that situation. But also, he was having a little trouble with his center rear view mirror. And so under this caution, he wanted to slow down and see if he could effect some repairs on that to make sure he could see the guys behind him. Actually, he'd already passed 8 cars since the race started. So really, he's more interested in the guys in front.
I guess that all these guys are trying to figure out if 12 laps, now they might be able to make it on 3 more stops.
Let's check the camera at the exit line of pit road. What a wild scramble. Dale Earnhardt Jr. first to get there.
Ooh, looks like Tony just got him.
Barely beat Bill Elliott, Robbie Gordon. And then here comes Mark Martin.
So we're under caution for the first time in the Brickyard 400. You're watching NASCAR on NBC.
Blocking going on there already.
Lots of blocking because they want to get that. And we see that Kevin Harvick looks like he's on the inside of Ryan Newman, and Bill Elliott about to lose another spot as Robbie Gordon goes by. I guess that was Mark Martin on the inside of Ryan Newman.
And Kevin Harvick trying to follow him through. Well, now Harvick says Newman's got the better jump down the straightaway. Sorry, Mark.
And here comes Jeff Gordon blasting up through there on the inside of Steve Park, and backs off in time. He doesn't get in the back of the 6 car of Mark Martin.
It looked like Steve didn't know Jeff was there until the last second. He really pulled that car back to the right. Steve Park in the 1 car.
Nice save for Ward Burton, too, in that black and gold Caterpillar car. He got knocked up out of the groove there in turn 4 and kept it off the wall. Tony Stewart for the lead on Dale Jr.
Man.
Thank you, Dale.
Tony's car must be handling pretty well. He put his hand out the window as he comes off the course. Says thanks. A little wave.
So Stewart out in front. Earnhardt Jr. second. Robbie Gordon did get by Bill Elliott for 3rd. Elliott back to 4th. And you've got Ryan Newman in 5th. Some of the lead pack come through. Checking on the championship leader, Sterling Marlin. He's back in 10th spot now. We eavesdropped on his communication with his pit crew just a moment ago.
Now, this thing is tight as it ever has been. Terrible tight. I mean, it's bad. Whatever you want to do, Leroy. You want track bar or wedge or both? I don't know if we can get them. Both of them. Do the track bar, Lee. Just do the track bar. If the gas man can get the wedge, let the gas man get the wedge out of the way.
That was just before the pit stops.
And, you know, they talk about communication between the driver and the crew chief being so critical. I don't think anyone there misunderstood what Sterling Marlin said. It's really tight.
Terrible, terrible.
Yeah, when you say do everything,
yes,
that's tight.
What do you want to do? And you give you two options. Do them both.
Again, Marlin running back in 10th spot now. He started the race in 8th, so he's lost a couple of positions. His championship rival, Mark Martin, is running 7th. Pretty impressive run for Jeff Gordon, just in front of Marlin there, too, so far. And we saw where Gordon stood in relation to Marlin in the championship at this point in the race.
You know, Jeff Gordon, those guys have been confident all week that their car was going to run okay. They, you know, they tested. What you got on Jeff Gordon? And I'll tell you what, tell the folks what you don't tell them.
Well, Benny, you're exactly right. They were very confident. In fact, Jeff made it very clear after practice yesterday that he thought this car would race well. Tony Gibson said they made a small shock adjustment this morning before they rolled the car out on the grid. The car is very, 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 that's a quote, tight in traffic, especially when he's behind more than one car. But Jeff didn't want to make too many changes when they came in because he had been in so much traffic. It was 2 right side tires and fuel for the 24.
You know, and they came up and tested a couple of weeks ago, bought a brand new car and an old car, tested them. Neither one of them ran well. So they brought back a third car, and they didn't run very well at Pocono with another car. So I thought they would struggle here this weekend. But so far, it's not been that big a struggle for Gordon as he's in 9th spot.
Jeff Gordon's record here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the Brickyard 400 is spectacular, to say the least. Check it out, Mark Martin, as he works on Kevin Harvick. Martin in the 6, Harvick in the 29. And there you see Gordon's numbers. Jeff working on Steve Park now for the 8th place. He's gotten up to 9th.
And Junior in the 8 car is starting to struggle. We saw Tony Stewart pass a little bit ago. Now Bill Elliott has gone by in the 9 car, and Junior last time by was about 3 1/4 seconds behind the leader, Tony Stewart.
Just lost another spot, going to lose another one yet. Wonder if there's something up there. Didn't take tires on his pit stop, but some of the guys he's racing with will need it. Tony Stewart is the leader of the Brickyard 400 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. He's got 1.2 seconds on Bill Elliott.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. leading the race when they went back to green, and has fallen all the way back to about 14th, 15th position. Marty, what's happening with Junior?
Yeah, Benny, his descent through the field continues now, actually back to the 16th position. And Junior has said nothing on the radio. They've asked him a couple times what's going on, and he has not responded. They think the car continues to get tight. That was his problem last time. Again, they took no tires on that last time. Maybe that's a little bit of it. And there you go. Really, really, really tight. So Junior finally did respond. The car very tight for Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Finally got a 3 spot in traffic where he could put that hand over onto the radio button. He had his hands full in all those cars.
Yeah, these drivers really have a problem trying to talk to the Bristol.
Yeah. Here's Rusty Wallace going to pass Dale Earnhardt Jr. and make it look easy.
And he looks like he has a problem tight in. And obviously, if you're tight in, it's bad all the way through. But it looks like he's having a hard time getting the car turned in, especially into 4 and 2.
And you want to talk about somebody on the move. That's Rusty Wallace. Started way back in 35th place. And he just took 16th from Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Let's take a ride with Dale Jr. here and see if we can see what he's up against. Here he is. Of course, he's going down the back straightaway right now, so we got a few minutes.
Yeah.
Gets to the next corner.
5/8 of a mile long the straightaways are here at Indy.
Okay, he's approaching turn 3. Turns the car in. It takes him a long time to get back to the throttle. Right there. That looks like the car doesn't stick too good. How fast was he going, BP?
Going 190. You see the red all the way up to about 196 miles per hour. Let's watch down the front straightaway. Might be a little bit faster. Yes, 198 miles per hour as he enters turn 1. And we can see a lot of movement in that hand to try to get the car to go to the left.
And it looks like as soon as he picks the gas up, the front of the car starts sliding. So it's a power push, we call. As soon as you hit the gas, the front starts sliding, especially off the corners here, like we just saw.
And you can see that Junior is hot in the car down the straightaway. He lifted his visor on his helmet to try to get a little bit of breeze in there.
And he stuck his fingers in there and maybe wiped some sweat off his brow, too, off his nose. But, you know, when you're looking at that, the hand movement isn't dramatic as you look like it for somebody who's never driven a race car like me. But what you're saying is the way he has to compensate for the car sliding the front end is staying off the gas. He should be back on the gas earlier.
Exactly. If you keep staying on, if you go to the gas hard and you just don't lift, you're going to hit the wall. So when you go on the gas and the car starts to push, you just have to go down slower on that gas pedal and just kind of keep up with the grip that you're feeling through the steering wheel.
Another guy, I mentioned Rusty Wallace, has moved up well from the back of the field. Right behind Dale Jr., here comes the 97, Kurt Busch. He started this race in 38th spot. It is a two-man duel at the front of the field in the 9th running of the Brickyard 400. From the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, Tony Stewart and Bill Elliott. You see the gap to third place Ryan Newman. They've got almost half the distance of this 5/8 mile front stretch. They have put some distance on the field. NASCAR Busch Series update last night at the short track across town, Indianapolis Raceway Park. Terrific finish between Greg Biffle and Jason Keller, with Biffle winning out in the end. They stopped, took on tires with 30 laps to go, and blasted up through the cars in front of them. Those two, the top two in the Busch Series championship standings as well. Busch Series has the weekend off this weekend. They will run at the Michigan Speedway a week from Saturday. I know somebody that expects to be in the field for that race, too.
Well, I do, too. I do, too.
That would be you.
I can't wait.
Look forward to watching you. It is hot today here at Indy. How hot is it? Dave Burns is going to tell us.
Alan, I'm inside the No Boundaries Ford. Sorry, Wally, I had to take over the ride for you here. And it is hot. The lowest temperature I could find in here, about 108. And now you can see up on the dash area, it's about 150. There's action on the track.
Got a crash. It's Kurt Busch with a hard crash.
That's too bad. He was flying.
He was running very, very well. Looks like he might have tested that safer barrier one more time.
He was in 17th place at the time of the accident, after starting the race back in 38th. Boy, he has pounded the wall with the left side of that Ford. And great news there.
Oh, he's mad at somebody.
Yes, he is.
He's angry at somebody.
Think he's got his weapon? Oh, no, it's his hat.
He's going down and just tell somebody when they go by that he's angry.
All right. Survey says.
Who's he racing with there?
We're here, and it's a red car.
Jimmy Spencer?
Yeah. That would be, what, the third or fourth time this year that they've tangled?
Remember Bristol. You see, there goes Spencer. Off turn 4. We talk about Bristol. There's Kurt Busch. He was the winner at Bristol. But let's go back this spring. In April, Spencer makes a little contact with Kurt Busch, gets on the inside, takes the lead, just a few laps to go. Kurt Busch goes down to turn 1. Says, okay, Jimmy, out of the way you go, I go by and win the Bristol race. Spencer almost wins.
And they've made contact a couple of more times since then on the racetrack, too.
Because it was at Phoenix. Didn't that
Last year.
the start of it last year
Yeah.
at Phoenix?
All right, here's what happened today in Indy.
At the very top of the screen, Kurt Busch is on the inside of Jimmy Spencer. Down that long straightaway, Kurt moves over to get some air between the two cars. Get to turn 3.
He just booted him out of the way.
Wow, that's not good.
Yeah. I mean, here you got a guy coming. Okay, he passed him clean. And you can see the car was slowing up in front of him. I don't think Kurt's going to let that one go over too easy.
Kurt continuing to express his displeasure at Jimmy Spencer. Leaders come to pit road. Stops will be as they complete lap 37. And we go to Bill Weber.
It'll be 4 tires, no changes on the 24, which starts off tight but gets freer. But a problem inside the car. Gordon's oil pressure gauge is broken. It is pegged to the max. They told him don't worry about it. It's not the gauge. The tires look very worn coming off this car. Matt?
Bill Elliott, second on the scoring pylon, second on the screen. No chassis adjustments for the 9. Bill said the car was a little bit free in open air, but then the car was a little bit tight when he got close to other cars. They're putting on scuffs, Marty.
Ryan Newman on the bottom of your screen in the 3rd position. The car is tied in 1 and 2. They did make a wedge adjustment. He is fine in 3 and 4. Tony Stewart, 4 tires and no changes, and Stewart will keep the lead as he wins the race off pit road.
A great stop for Bill Elliott, 14.5.
Well, I don't know. I want to check that camera in our line at the end of pit road where they score the cars as they exit the pits. That's close.
It is going to be very close.
Bill Elliott got him.
Give it to Bill Elliott.
By about 3 feet.
And by the way, Kurt Busch has been invited to have a visit to the Big Red Truck for his on-track demonstrations. I think one was okay, another one was not. So
was
the NASCAR
showboating, maybe?
Yeah, the NASCAR officials want to have a little chat with him in the principal's office after the race.
I've been invited there a couple times.
I'll bet you have, at least more than once in your career. Bill Elliott has taken over the lead on pit stops here at Indy. We're 100 miles into the Brickyard 400 for 2002. You see the accident scene as they pick up Kurt Busch's car now inside turn number 3 and try and check that safer barrier, make sure things are still good to go for the resumption of this race.
Well, it looks like the guys are getting in the trucks, driving away, so it looks like it's holding up doggone well because that was a very heavy impact.
One of the concerns about these different types of barriers is their ability to withstand a hit and allow the race to be carried on. Another look at the accident.
That's Kurt Busch in the Rubbermaid car. Gets a bump from behind by Jimmy Spencer. And bam, and that's the worst kind of wreck for a race car driver, that left side crash. And we saw Kurt Busch quickly jump out of his car. And he was okay. A spring goes bouncing across the racetrack.
I think the adrenaline helped him get out of the car that fast, too. Being mad.
Look at the driver's side of that car. And that emphasizes the point. They are not soft walls. They are safer walls, but they're not soft.
No, because there's a lot of damage to that car.
Here's our Coca-Cola family of drivers having a pretty good day so far. 6 of them in the top 15. 3 in the top 5. Bobby Labonte's moved up from the rear of the field. He started in 37th. John Andretti, Indianapolis native, kind of struggling here at the Brickyard today. Terry Labonte in the Kellogg's car runs in the 19th position now. He started 31st, so he's made a nice move up through the pack. You know, this year is Tony the Tiger's 50th birthday. Did you know that?
Happy birthday, Tony. Oh, it's just all year. It's not today.
Yeah.
Like Jeff Gordon or Kurt Busch. Boy, what a birthday present Kurt Busch got, huh?
Tony the Tiger and Kellogg's are celebrating the great Tony the Tiger Awards to recognize kids who demonstrate the spirit of achievement. Tony the Tiger represents 10 winners to be honored at an awards ceremony in New York City August 16th. And you can log on to TonyTheTiger.com for more information.
That was a lame great. I know you can do better than that.
Okay, I'll work on it. Dave?
Well, Kurt Busch has just stepped out of the infield care center. Kurt, what do you think happened out there?
Just been having troubles with turn 3 this weekend. In qualifying, we spun, and that put us in a bad position back there with the decrepit old has-beens, I guess. It's just been a tough way. I mean, when he calls out what he's going to do and then actually goes out there and does it, I mean, I guess he's a never-was is really the term that we need to bring up today. But real unfortunate, we had the car to beat. We were going to the front. Rubbermaid, very sorry about it. We'll go back and work at it next week. I mean, it's tough when you bump somebody at 100 miles an hour, and then when they come back and bump at 200 miles an hour. So if that's the way that Jimmy Spencer is, we know how he is, and we're not going to play like that.
All right, Kurt, I want to ask you one more question regarding the safer barrier. You hit it. How did that feel? You're the tester.
Yeah, I was the first one to test it out. I'm okay. I guess it did its job. I knew it was going to be a hard hit. I braced myself. You know, the lessons that we learned as far as Dr. Melvin and the things that he's implemented with us, it's great that I can walk away from a wreck like that, backing it at a 200-mile-an-hour rate.
What did it feel like, Kurt?
It felt bad. I mean, there's nothing that you can say that would describe exactly what happens except for standing in the boxing rink and having a heavyweight just knock you upside the head.
All right, that's what happened to Kurt today. We're back going green, Alan.
Bill Elliott, now the leader, and his crew got him the advantage over Tony Stewart on the exchange of pit stops.
I guess that's pretty fair, just a heavyweight. I think it's a heavyweight, two heavyweights in the ring with you hitting it from both sides at the same time.
I think one thing we've established clearly from Bristol to today, we've got us a little feud going.
Yeah, I think you are right.
Kevin Harvick, 29 car, looking to get a spot from his teammate, Robbie Gordon. That'll be 4th place.
Tell you what, Robbie keeps showing those blocks. That's going to catch up with them here.
Matt Kenseth in the 17, looking to follow through.
If they hang him out like that, there's going to be a lot of guys who are going to get through. Especially if they line up on the straightaway and draft by him.
Kenseth is through. Here comes Mark Martin in the 6. And what, about a dozen, 15 cars all in a line, too. Here's Dale Jarrett.
Mark Martin goes down to block Jarrett to make sure he doesn't get on the inside and make it 3 wide. Well, Robbie Gordon's going to turn left in a minute. He's going to get frustrated with all these guys going by, and he's just going to have to turn left to try to get back in line.
And the big brown truck moves up a spot. Okay, it's a call. He doesn't want to race the truck. He doesn't want to race the truck.
Now, here's what I was talking about. These guys are lining up right now, and Robbie's going to have a tough time getting down to that low line. Also, it's a little bit dirtier up there. Although he may get a break here. Nope, Sterling decided he's going to go back down with Rusty. But it's hard to turn back down. It looks like to say you can be clear. Rusty gave him a break there, but it's hard to just turn down to the bottom of the racetrack.
Jeff Gordon running in 9th place. We eavesdropped on his communications with his team a moment ago. He was talking with them about how his car's handling in traffic.
That thing started out tight those first 3, 4, 5 laps, something like that, with them right sides, right? That's 10-4. Did the tightness stay in it, or did it kind of come out? I know you kind of kept getting in cleaner air there.
You know, in clean air wasn't bad, but it stayed fairly tight. You know, it just depends on how close I am to other cars. And, you know, at the beginning of those runs, even though the tires are new, I'm right behind them other guys.
10-4.
As Robbie Loomis, the crew chief, back and forth with Jeff Gordon on the radio.
Todd Bodine, the Discover 26 car on the inside of Jimmy Spencer.
He was 15th place. He made the pass 4.
And we see Tony the Tiger trying to get on the inside of Steve Hart. That's the 5 car.
You know, watching Jimmy Spencer here and talking about an on-track feud between he and Kurt Busch. What's NASCAR's role in stopping this and settling it? Well, do they let it play out and let you know, the wild, wild west? Justice will take care of itself, or do they have to do something and step in here and say, okay, enough's enough?
My guess is that they've got to step in. If it's, again, this is we had an incident in Bristol back in the spring. Nothing has really happened since then. This is just another incident. I think right now that probably nothing will happen, but if something were to happen next week or in the next month or so, they got to step in and do something.
Well, I'm surprised they didn't step in there. I mean, that's what you call getting booted, getting into turn 3. So I don't know. You know, I don't know where you're going to say you draw the line. The line should have been drawn today, but it wasn't. So you're right. How far does it go? That's up to NASCAR. But as far as I'm concerned, Kurt Busch is sitting in the infield right now because he got punted.
And NASCAR over the years have penalized drivers for rough driving. They penalized them 1, 2, 3, even 5 laps. Earnhardt one time was penalized 5 laps at the Lowe's Motor Speedway.
But they have to make a judgment call on intent there. They have to decide that Jimmy Spencer intended to wreck Kurt Busch.
But come on, there's been a history here. It's been going on for 2 or 3 different events, or 3 or 4 events. But you're right. I mean, if it was the first time, yeah, you kind of let it go. But this is what, the 3rd time now, the 3rd or the 4th time. So I think there's a pattern there.
Jimmy Johnson around Jimmy Spencer, pick up 18th place. Bobby Labonte continuing to move forward. He'll be the next one to work on Spencer. Bill Elliott trying to put some distance on Tony Stewart and the rest of the field. We are past 100 miles in the Brickyard 400 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Caution is out for a 3rd time in the Brickyard 400. Jeffrey Bodine has crashed hard. That is in turn number 2. You see the safety workers already there at Bodine's car, the 1986 Daytona 500 winner. Look at the damage on the back end of the car.
We see him hand his helmet to one of the safety workers. You know, the amazing thing is that was fantastic. Those guys were there about the time he stopped.
These guys are the best. These guys are the best in Indianapolis on getting to a wreck. Trying to pick him up right here. Looks like he just gets loose, getting right through that corner there, BB. He just got loose getting in.
He goes up, hits the outside wall. Boom.
And it really comes across and hits the inside wall probably harder than he hit the outside, it seems like.
Bang.
Wow.
Listen to this.
Look at a right rear wheel on that thing.
And watch.
Wow.
Another chance for these guys to make these adjustments and try to get these cars better and better. See if they can do anything about catching Bill Elliott or Tony Stewart. Weber, coming to you.
Well, they weren't. Jeff Gordon was staying out until he radioed in, said they're coming. Robbie said, so are you. So here's Gordon, whose car, as we heard, is tight early, but gets better. No tires, it's only fuel. The former Indy winner is on his way down pit road.
Well, we wanted to make sure that we got fuel in the car and was on equal fuel with the leaders. We were going to have 12, 13 lap distance on tires, but we felt like being on an equal fuel window with them was real important.
It'll be a 2-tire stop for Harvick. Fuel only for Tony Stewart. And Bill Elliott and Tony Stewart nearly collide on pit road. Elliott has to go out onto the racetrack and avoid the access road as other cars scatter everywhere, trying not to wreck, leaving pit road.
Yeah, what's going on there, Marty? Because the accident and the safety workers are on the pit exit road between turns 1 and 2, the NASCAR stop-and-go paddleman is trying to tell them to go up onto the racetrack. See the official there?
Bill Elliott is trying to win his first Brickyard 400, 3rd here twice, trying to win his 3rd Crown Jewel event. He told his crew chief, Mike Ford, the car is a little bit free in open air, but the car is tight in traffic, so they chose to only take on fuel with that last stop. He only had 16 laps on that set of tires.
To make judgment calls come the end of the race on the information you gathered through who took no tires, who took 2 tires, who took you know, we tried fuel a couple times to keep our track position when we didn't have many laps on our tires, and that worked out. A lot of people did that as well. 2 tires really didn't seem to work out well for a lot of guys early in the race, so that wasn't a concern at all for us.
Rusty Wallace had a tight race car. When he put that number 2 car into the turns, it wanted to push up toward those safer barriers more than Rusty wanted. He came in for a pit stop, took on 4 tires, filled it full of fuel, and made a track bar adjustment to fix the tight condition. Alan?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. came in for a 2nd time under his caution flag for an extended stop, so he's all the way back in 37th position as the field got the 1-to-go signal. John Andretti peeled off the pit, so now Bill Elliott has reassumed the top spot. What a drive for Rusty Wallace today. He started back in 30th place and he's up to 21st so far, and you heard that still doesn't have the car the way he wants it. Let's talk about heat for a second, Wally. We saw Dave inside our Ford No Boundaries car showing what the temperature was in that car that's not even out on the track at full speed.
Yeah, you can add another 10 or 15 degrees to that temperature, which I can't, was it 153 or 154 Dave was showing or something like that. So, yeah, these cars are really hot right now, and And another problem with the ice is you have to tape those Ziploc bags shut, because 9 out of 10 times the ice will spill all over the bottom of the car on the handoff from the team to the driver. So it's real important.
And you see the heat index today, 102 degrees.
And you know, that water spilling on the floor of the car, that boils.
Yes.
Quickly.
Yeah, so that's a problem. All right, we're set to go back racing. Bill Elliott is the leader after John Andretti peeled off. Tony Stewart, Matt Kenseth, Jeff Burton, Mark Martin. Gee, a little Roush flavor there to that top 5. Kenseth, Burton, and Martin all driving for the Cat in the Hat.
Green.
As we see, Jimmy Howell waves the green flag, gets these guys back underway, and Robbie Gordon quickly goes down to try to block, and Harvick drives by, tries to drive by both of them on the outside. Now that was a gutsy try by Harvick.
Not done yet. 2 Richard Childress Racing teammates door to door.
Tell you what, tempers are going to flare, though, if you keep doing that on every single restart on those blocks. Believe me, these guys don't like that.
Tony Stewart with a look inside. Bill Elliott for the lead.
In the beginning, I think we raced up to 8th or 9th spot before our first pit stop, and we kind of stayed and did what the leaders did. We all sort of did the same thing. If we had less than 10 or 12 laps on our tires, we came in and just got fuel, and if we had more than that on our tires, we came in and got 4 tires. So we never did 2 tires all day. We either got 4 or just got fuel, and that seemed to keep up with our track position pretty decent.
Doug Yates, Robert Yates' son, told me this morning in the garage area, this 88 car is really good today. Expect him to be up front when the race is over.
2-time winner here in Indianapolis is Dale Jarrett. Jeffrey Bodine treated and released from the infield medical center. After that hard crash, good news there. South Bend, Indiana's Ryan Newman running just ahead of Dale Jarrett. At 12 car, 24 years old. Engineering graduate from Purdue University. You know, so much talk about Tony Stewart and Jeff Gordon being the Indiana boys when we come back to the Brickyard, but here's a kid who came here last year, made his Winston Cup debut at this racetrack, qualified 5th, and was running 3rd when he bumped the wall. Knocked the suspension of his car out of alignment, and he wound up fading back into the field. He wants to win here.
You're right, he does want to win, so he obviously wants to go up and catch these guys and go past Bill Elliott for the lead. Right now, I think the bigger issue is, can he keep Dale Jarrett, the 88 car, behind him?
Again, Newman is in 9th, Dale Jarrett's 10th. We've got the 40 of Sterling Marlin there, the championship leader. He's in 11th. Kenny Wallace just on pit road and off under the green flag. Vibration reported from his crew. Ryan Newman has gotten better and better as this season has gone on. I guess we call that the experience factor.
I think that is experience working with his crew, with Matt Borland, the entire crew, learning more about these heavy stock cars, 3,400-pound cars.
And when they talk, when he and his crew talk, here's a couple guys with engineering backgrounds. They talk engineer speak.
Yeah. At Chicago, I'll never forget him going in the corner and said it's in yaw going in turn 3. First time I'd ever heard that, to explain loose.
Yeah, that 12 car is handling really good on the straightaways right now. He pulled away from the 88 car straightaway. You don't see that too often.
All right, well, let's see what kind of RPM and mile per hour that DJ might be turning down the front straightaway. We saw, what, 198 before?
200, 201.
201 miles per hour. And you saw over 9,000 RPMs. There is a breeze blowing straight down the front straightaway, so we'll see more RPM and more mile per hour down the front stretch than we will the back.
Looking ahead, Ryan Newman working on Jeff Gordon for 8th place. And while Dale Jarrett is in the picture here, let's take a minute to say hi to Ned Jarrett, the Hall of Famer and 2-time NASCAR champion. He's been under the weather a little bit lately. I understand he spent some time in the hospital and hope Ned's feeling better real soon.
Yeah, Glenn was telling us last night over the NASCAR Busch Series race that Ned was in the hospital. So Ned, get well soon. Look at Blaney on the inside of Sterling Marlin. Marlin tried to block him. Blaney said, I'm going on. Oh, look, guys, he's going to be on the inside of Jeff.
Oh, he slid up the track a little bit. Sterling taking a look on the bottom. Does he have enough? No.
The Buckeye Bullet, Dave Blaney from Hartford, Ohio. Former World of Outlaws Sprint Car champion. Working his way through his third season of Winston Cup competition. High of a finish so far this year. 9th place out of the California Speedway near Los Angeles. Starting today in 33rd, he's up to 11th.
Sterling tried putting the block on to Steve Park, but too successful. I guess it was successful.
So far, we just keep turning the body trying to get by.
Bill Elliott and Tony Stewart have dominated the Brickyard 400 so far. We are 61 of 160 laps complete. Let's make our singular call to the pits. We'll go to pit road and Matt Yoakum.
Alan with heat, a major concern, not only on pit road, but also in the race car. Mike Ford asked his driver, Bill Elliott, Bill, how is the interior of the car? How are you doing? He says, Mike, I'm rather comfy in here. He hasn't said a whole lot. That means good. They can make it on 2 more stops. Also, the 17 car, Matt Kenseth, trying to get some good luck here lately and also trying to get some good luck here at the Brickyard. If they stop, which they did, they can now make it on 2 more stops. Matt felt like this adjustment they just made should be good to help this race car stay up front and possibly win this race. Meanwhile, Mark Martin, best career finish here at the Brickyard, 6th. They first adjusted the wrong way on their first stop, and they battled back with wedge adjustment. His car was just too loose on entry. To Martin.
Tony Stewart back in the 4th position. Matt, remember they took fuel only on their last stop. The car has been very good for Tony. A little bit loose at times, a little bit tight at times, in different corners of the racetrack. Depends on which way the wind is blowing. He says those are affecting his laps a whole bunch. Also behind him, Kevin Harvick. Remember, Kevin battling food poisoning today, a little bit sick in the car. The team asked him, how do you feel? He said, I feel fine. The car is great. Starts free at the beginning of a run, gets a little bit tighter the later it runs. 3 straight top 10s for this team. Behind him is teammate Robbie Gordon, a little bit tight. Richard Childers on the radio said, be patient. We have a good car and we can win. These guys have had 2 top 10s in their last 3 races, Matt.
Dale Jarrett racing for points, but also for more pride and prestige, looking for another win in the Brickyard 400. On his previous stop, they made a wedge adjustment. On his last stop, just 2 tires and fuel. No changes on the 88 car, Marty.
Ryan Newman speaking that engineering talk that we were talking about just a little while ago, currently running in the 8th position, just picked up a spot. A little while ago he said I'm 3/4 tight. Now he says I'm 1.5 tight. That speaks to his crew chief Matt Borland, who's also an engineer, to say the car's getting tighter the longer he goes. Dave.
What a great run for Dave Blaney running 9th. He started 33rd, and they haven't made hardly any changes on the car all day. On the last stop, they changed 2 right side tires. Bill?
Jeff Burton changed 4 tires on his first stop, 4 tires on his second stop, but no tires on his most recent stop. That's why he's getting passed by a bunch of guys, including Sterling Marlin, who just goes around. Burton's in the 99 car. It's the same car that they ran last week at Pocono. Caution.
Yeah, this is for debris on the racetrack, Bill. It'll be the 4th yellow flag of this Brickyard 400, and it'll come out at lap number 68.
And we saw Jimmy Spencer in the middle of all that as we were going through the field, and there you see the debris on the racetrack. Spencer, during our commercial break, had a flat tire or something. I think it was a flat left side tire. Made an unscheduled pit stop and is now in lap down.
He thought it was flat, but it was not.
Really?
Tough mistake there. So Spencer's back in 38th place. Now everybody was just in at lap 52. Do they stop again?
Oh, yeah. I think they're all come in.
You think so? We just heard a lot of people say they can make it on 2 more stops. Not from here, though.
No, they're going to have to stop. I think Jeff Gordon is really in the pickle right now because he stopped and only gassed only the last time, and he's fallen back to 13th. So I think that he's going to probably, if any of these leaders pit, he will come in and get 4 tires. Track position is so critical here, Bill Elliott looks like he's coming in.
Who fakes and who goes?
You don't want to give anything up on fuel. If you don't stop and the rest of the guys stop, that puts you short pitting the next time. And it looked like a large number of guys were coming in, so we opted to come in, just top it off so we didn't get out of sequence with the rest of the crowd.
We'll go to Matt Yoakum.
Well, Allen, as the parade of cars hit on pit road, Bill Elliott, they're talking about no adjustments for the leader. He was extremely pleased with his race car. Meanwhile, Mark Martin, after finishing 35th back in '94, reeled off 5 straight top 10s, but his last 2 finishes here, a 43rd and a 22nd, 2 tires and a track bar adjustment for Mark Martin. Best finish here, 6th, trying to get Roush's first win at the Brickyard. Meanwhile, Matt Kenson, his teammate, the car that he partly owns, a half a pound out of the right rear, 4 tires and fuel.
Looks like Tony Stewart just got 2 tires on his stop.
Green flag.
Other guys who got just 2 tires on their stops include Jeff Gordon, who's up to 7th place on the restart. Jimmy Spencer trying to hang in there and get a lap back from the leader. 41 cars through. That puts him on the tail end of the lead lap. He is a full 2.5 miles behind Tony Stewart, but if the caution comes out, the pace car gets in front of the leader. Spencer gets a free pass around back into contention.
Robbie Gordon trying to peek out, take a look. Could he get Tony Stewart to go up the racetrack, give him the bottom? Did not work.
Robbie Gordon with a fractured left heel. He went motocrossing with his team last Saturday in Pocono after the final practice session of the day. He went over a jump on the bike and didn't make it all the way. Bike kind of bottomed out on the chassis. He injured his left heel, Marty, and he's got to be in some discomfort.
He is in a little bit of discomfort, but he feels pretty good inside the race car, Alan. And he's wearing a special shoe that has aluminum in the bottom of the left heel, and that protects him, A, from the heat, from it swelling even more. And it also makes him feel a little more comfortable. So he's got that special shoe on. He has taken care of the ankle this week and is wrapped very tightly today so it won't swell anymore in the great heat they're experiencing inside these cars.
Those cool little things that they unveiled, it's almost like a personal scooter on 2 wheels. You stand on it, move the handle and it rolls. You know what I'm talking about? They spin in all kinds of directions. Hey, Robbie had one of those in the garage this morning. That's how he was getting around here.
That'd be the segue?
As hot as it was, as hot as the racetrack was, 4 tires was the way to go on that racetrack. The problem was you needed 4 tires in track position. We never gave Jeff that opportunity. We gave him 4 tires, but we never really had the track position.
Jeff Burton, 99, Ryan Newman, 12, and Terry Labonte in the 5. This is 12th, 13th, and 14th.
And Jeff Burton's 99 car obviously not as good as it was last week at Pocono.
Great run for Terry Labonte. 31st to 5th in that 5 car. 2-time NASCAR Winston Cup champ. Really hasn't had a whole lot to get excited about this year.
These guys didn't run that good at Pocono early either, though. No. I mean, you know, it took them 3/4 of a race.
Steve Park in the 1, moving up on Mike Skinner in the 4.
All right, here we go. Bill Elliott on the inside of Sterling Marlin. Takes that spot away. He's been able to get by Dave Blaney a couple laps ago.
And you see the leader, Tony Stewart, has put Jimmy Spencer in the 41 car a lap down again.
Bad news for Tony Stewart. Here comes Bill Elliott.
Why should he expect any different? That's the way it's been all day. The 2 of them been up front.
My right front fender, take a look at it next time, okay?
Sound like Robbie Gordon there might have some damage to the right front. He's asking the spotters to take a look at it.
Obviously thinks or maybe made contact with someone. Here goes Elliott.
Boy, he can just turn that car under people off the corner, can he?
That's what you got to have here. That is a perfect car in Indianapolis.
Pretty strong 9 car, Matt.
Alan, when Mike Ford and the Dodge boys were loading this race car to go to Pocono, Mike joked and said, if we go to Pocono and win the pole and win the race, we're going to have to take this car to Indy. Well, guess what? That's exactly what they did. So when the car got back to the shop, the team worked until almost 3 a.m. until Tuesday morning, stripping this car of the chassis components, taking it down to the bare metal. They worked an all-nighter almost every night this week because this is the best car they felt like they had for Indy. A marquee event that they want to win for Dodge. They felt like they missed out on giving Dodge their first win back in Winston Cup, but a Dodge has never won here at the Brickyard. They'd like to have that honor.
Under caution in the Brickyard 400 for the 5th time, right at halfway. Jeremy Mayfield's car has gone up in smoke. And let's see who's coming to pit road and who's not.
Almost everyone except the first 3 cars is coming down pit road.
The deal with Indy is you don't want to get caught on the fuel, and there's always a long green, which there wasn't this time, but I was afraid of it, so that's why we tried to stay on top of the fuel, and we just kept, if we had fresh tires on, we'd come on and just top it off and go again.
Sterling Marlin last time, Bill, took 2 tires only. He was tight. Those 2 tires stopped, made him even tighter. This time they take on left side tires. The other tires only have 7 laps on them, so in theory now they have 4 fresh tires.
But just changing those 2 left sides, Sterling Marlin's going to lose a host of positions as most guys, or a lot of guys, fuel only that stop. I don't know when they're planning on changing tires.
I'm a little puzzled why you would not pit there if you are the leader, because you're at 80 laps to go, 40 laps, 40 laps. I don't know. We'll follow up on that in a moment. Jeremy Mayfield coasting into the garage under caution, number 5 in the Brickyard 400 at Indianapolis. Bill Elliott, Tony Stewart, Robbie Gordon, Ryan Newman, Todd Bodine, and Ricky Craven stayed on track. Those who did stop with a variety of pit strategies. But I'm curious why Elliott's team did not bring him in. Matt, got an answer for us?
Well, Alan, down here in the leader's pit, Mike Ford, how many laps shy of your window were you?
Well, we were about 9 laps short of our window. Really wasn't any sense for us to pit and lose our track position, so we opted to stay out.
This car loves the clean air, and if you go by their 35 laps, which Mike told me before the race started, they should have to pit somewhere around lap 105, Marty.
Well, let's ask Greg Zippadelli, so why did you guys not stop?
We were talking, and I didn't hear Tony say anything. Kind of assumed we were coming in, talked over each other. It's, I don't know, the way cautions are falling here, hopefully it won't be that big a deal. We're going to be close to trying to make it, and, you know, splitting this last segment in half. People that just came in can do that probably now. It'll be close for them, so we'll just see what happens.
He made that Tony's decision. There'll be 78 laps to go when we do get the green flag, guys. Most teams very close on whether or not they can split that in half, make it on one more stop.
Well, obviously, Bill Elliott could not, we saw it Pocono last week, continually did not get the fuel mileage that some of the Fords and General Motors cars were able to get with this Dodge engine. So, hey, he couldn't make it. Why stop?
And in Tony's situation, there may have been just some confusion over the radio. He didn't see Bill come in. Everybody turned in behind him. But if you talk over each other on the radio, Tony may not have got the message, or Zippy didn't get the message.
See, Tony Stewart and Bill Elliott have dominated the race today. Dale Earnhardt Jr. with an extra pit stop earlier. That's why he's back in 25th place. We were going racing this time, but the oil dry that's been spread on the track is a little too thick for the driver's liking. They're going to take an extra few laps to try and get that cleaned up. Elliott leads. Tony Stewart is second. Robbie Gordon third. Ryan Newman is fourth. Todd Bodine is fifth. Ricky Craven is sixth. Those 6 cars did not stop under this yellow flag. Everybody else on the lead lap did. And there are 36 of the 43 starters still on the lead lap, past halfway here at Indianapolis.
See Elliott leaving the car there. A lot of that's got to do with when you're under yellow, you pick up a lot of garbage on your tires. And after the restart, he felt he probably slid the car in 1 and 2. So he's weaving the car on the back straightaway to try to get all that rubber and debris off the tires before he got into turn 3.
And it looked like he was trying to break the grab on Jimmy Spencer, but I agree with you that he was really truly trying to clear his tires.
Robbie Gordon again with that block, this time on Ryan Newman.
And Newman makes a late entry trying to get on the inside to get alongside Robbie Gordon in the short straight. Did not work.
If that race goes green, then track position, like I said, is so critical. you know, extra couple seconds in the pits, the straightaways the way they are, heck, that's half straightaway behind. And the cautions allowed us and a lot of other teams to make adjustments, like you said, and be able to be in position at the end. Without those cautions, it would have been really tough. We probably pitted more than we should have.
We've talked about it a lot, not just today, but in all the races we've done this season, Betty. Track position is king in this sport anymore.
It's everything.
Matt, tell us about Todd Bodarn's day.
Well, he's been battling a tight race car today, Alan, but the biggest thing he's been battling, like a lot of teams up and down pit road, the heat. In fact, the hottest item on pit road, Ziploc bags. They ran out of them. His PR individual had to go to the catering booth behind pit road to get more Ziploc bags. So like Wally showed us at the beginning of the show, they can put ice in the bag so you can slide inside his fire suit.
And what that actually does, it actually keeps your heart cool, and it keeps your blood down, and or your blood cooler, and it helps tremendously. I mean, I know there's a lot into the cool boxes, the cool scoops, and things like that, but that simple bag of ice really works. You just got to keep replacing it. When it's as hot as it is today, you need it about every 15, 20 laps.
Robbie Gordon working on Jimmy Spencer. That 41 car is the first one a lap down. He's in 37th place.
That's going to hurt him there. He slid up high, got in that loose stuff. Newman got a real run on him.
Talking about that loose up, some of the drivers were talking to me this morning about the new grooves that they diamond cut the surface of this racetrack to try to take all the bumps out of it. And the grooves go around the racetrack, and they felt like it was really grinding a lot of rubber off the tires, and that rubber obviously would accumulate just outside the groove.
3 wide, back in traffic. Jeff Gordon slipping by both Dave Blaney and Mike Skinner. There's that first corner. That puts Jeff up in the 18th place. Bill?
And it has been a struggle for that team throughout most of the day. Last pit stop, they put on 4 tires because the pit stop previous, Jeff said 2 tires just do not work. With 2 tires, the car will not handle. So they put on 4, made an air pressure adjustment, but he's back in traffic. And we learned early in this race, in traffic, that Chevrolet, after making that nose adjustment earlier this year, mandated by NASCAR, is not very good.
Ooh, Mike did the same thing Gordon did there last lap. Got in the slippery stuff, but he's hanging on.
So that debris is not as bad as the driver I was talking to this morning felt like it was going to be. If it had been bad, Mike Skinner, Robbie Gordon, both those cars would have spun out up that high.
There's Ward Burton, Daytona 500 winner in the 22. Trying to put a pass on Mike Skinner in the 4. Johnny Benson got damaged on the first pit stops when he and Jeremy Mayfield collided. That's Benson in the 10.
Well, Skinner, I mean, even though they're racing back in the back for about 20th spot, there's so many cars there, he cannot get back to the bottom of the track.
And if you're out there by yourself on a straightaway, you've got 2 cars lined up underneath you, you're not going to out-drag them down the straightaway. Those 2 cars are going to run faster nose to tail than 1 car. You see both those cars made the pass, even with the damage on Johnny Benson's car.
So that puts Mike Skinner back to 23rd place. Johnny Benson to 22nd, Ward Burton to 21st. 32 is Ricky Craven. One of the guys who did not stop under this last caution, Matt.
And Alan, he's dropped 2 positions since that restart. Now back down to 8th. Mike being the crew chief, listening to Ricky on the radio as he drives by. You stayed out, Mike, for 2 reasons. Why?
We can't make them fuel cars another stop. So we just stayed out there. You know, we really worked on his tide board all day. You know, we closed shocks, opened shocks. We're still a little free in right now. We're gonna have to next stop about lap 110. You know, we're going to have to tighten it up just a little bit more, just see what we got.
After finishing 31st, 34th, 16th, 17th, 34th, and 41st, he scored a 9th last year. He's trying to get his 2nd straight top 10 here at the Brickyard this afternoon.
And he buried that the fender on the left front tire there, getting into the corner. You see when Ricky Craven just hits the brakes a little bit, the front of that car really came down hard, and it looked like the tires hitting on top of the fender well when he does that.
Bill Elliott is in command of the Brickyard 400 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. He's up by 4.5 seconds on the second place car.
When you say he's in command, you aren't kidding. Easily in command of this race.
And there is a new second place car. While we were in the break, Robbie Gordon got around Tony Stewart to take over the number 2 spot. There's the gap.
Now that's a pretty good battle there for second through about 12th, 15th.
Gordon in second, Robbie. Tony Stewart third, Ryan Newman fourth. Mark Martin is in fifth, the farthest forward of the guys who did pit under that last caution. Then you've got Dale Jarrett, Todd Bodine, Matt Kendrick, Jeff Burton, and Ricky Craven filling out the top 10.
You see Mark Martin there on the inside of Ryan Newman trying to take over the 4th spot. Looks like that's going to happen. Oh, wait a minute, about to lose a spot to DJ.
Wow. Dale Jarrett, 2-time Brickyard 400 winner. Careful. See Ryan Newman's hands inside that car?
They're full.
All right, we talked about some guys. We've interviewed guys that could not make it. They've got to stop at least twice more for fuel. Mark Martin stopped this last time and topped off. Can he make it the rest of the way, guys?
Well, Ben, let's talk to his rookie, Ben Leslie. Ben, you did stop. Can you guys make it on one more stop?
Yeah, I think so. It's going to be tight, but this Viagra team has done a great job all day long. You know, it's going to be close. Jack does a great job on us for fuel mileage. We'll just see how the cards play out.
Ben Leslie scored his first career win as a crew chief in the Coca-Cola 600. Now to Marty.
Well, Matt, Kevin Harvick's crew chief is Gil Martin. Can you make it on one more stop?
Yeah, I think a Goodrich Chevy can make it in one more stop right now. We've put a set of tires on right there that's not agreeing with the car very much. We're pretty tight, so we'll pit sometime around 120 and 121 and make a go of it.
Now, you would assume that his teammate Robbie Gordon, who currently runs in second, could do the same. That is not the case. They think they're going to be about 2 laps short.
Mark not only getting great fuel mileage, but his car is fast right now.
Really fast, yes.
Unfortunately, he lost that position of being the first car, the farthest forward car that pitted and can go on one more stop when Dale Jarrett passed him there.
Yeah, but I think he pulled out there.
Oh, trouble. Casey Atwood. Caution. Another driver's side impact into that safer barrier.
Normally, at this track, the way these corners are laid out, if you get turned sideways getting into the corner, that's how you're going to hit the walls here at Indianapolis.
And the 6th yellow flag of the Brickyard 400 will slow the field. You see Casey dropping the window net there as the safety workers are there. 62 laps to go. Now what do you do?
I was going to say, VP, I'm looking at VP with my hands up and like, all right, now what?
Oh,
you got to come in. Right, you're inside your window.
Well, Bill Elliott and those guys that did not stop the last time, yes, they've got to stop. The guys that stopped earlier, no, they're not going to stop. They're going to stay on the racetrack, keep that track position, and stop one more time.
Elliott has led 52 of the 98 laps that we've run so far today. As we check out what happened to Casey Atwood. This is turn 1.
Casey looks like he got in there underneath the 8-car. Earnhardt looks like maybe lost a little of the air on the spoiler, and that happens here when you're running real close to another car. You're down on the inside, you lose the air on your car, which makes you loose.
And what happened when he got loose, he backed off the gas, and Rudd ran in the back of it.
Right.
As soon as he chases it up the hill, I don't know, maybe that angle doesn't show Rudd. The first angle we saw, I thought Rudd got in the back of him. But from that angle, I'm not sure. He just looks like he just got the air off the spoiler, as Wally said.
Well, let's see. Is there contact or not?
Yeah,
I think so.
I saw the rear of the car come off the ground there, BP, so you're right. Either way, he was in trouble, whether Ricky hit him or not.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was already going that direction, whether or not Ricky got in the back of him.
Casey has climbed from the car.
And I tell you what, I applaud the Speedway for those safer barriers, because that's a couple of times today, about 3 times we've seen cars make just heavy contact with the wall, and every time we've seen the driver get out of the car. Sure, they're heavy contact. It is heavy contact, but they're out of the car.
Who pits? Who doesn't?
Everybody.
I can't believe everybody's going to pit.
Pit crews head-to-head here for track position. Matt Yoakum.
We talked all morning before the race and also at the beginning of the race. It could all come down to what takes place on pit road. Dale Jarrett's in. 4 tires and fuel. No adjustments at this juncture for Dale Jarrett. Meanwhile, Bill Elliott, 4 tires and fuel, no adjustments. They did tell him the 31 car, Robbie Gordon, was running the same times as him. To Marty.
Robbie is just a little bit loose, Matt. He said I need to be a little bit tighter if I can, but I'm afraid to adjust it, so they decided to make no changes to it. It'll be a 4-tire stop for Robbie Gordon, and he'll lose a lot of spots here on pit road. Bill.
Well, Jeff Burton was on pit road, took 4 tires, and he's gone.
And I'm telling you, these guys, they all changed 4 tires. There's 61 laps to go. They've seen the last tire. They're going to get the rest of the day.
You're right. It'll be fuel only if you got to come in.
Fuel only next time you come in.
Hey, Bill, I want to get you to follow up on Jeff Gordon. I'm not sure he got all 4 tires.
No tires. Fuel only, track bar adjustment, and fuel.
Yeah, track position play by Robbie Loomis for the 3-time Brickyard 400 winner. Don't count him out. But he's going to have to beat that big red Dodge of Bill Elliott, who has dominated here at Indianapolis so far. Here's our Pepsi race recap, the way things have gone in the Brickyard 400 so far. Before over 275,000. Tony Stewart and Bill Elliott led the field to the green flag. Caution early on. Mike Wallace pounds the wall in turn 2. Collects Brett Bodine in the accident. Both drivers okay, but it was the first test of the safer barrier. On the pit stop, Johnny Benson and Jeremy Mayfield tangled, damaging both of their cars. Here's today's controversial incident. Jimmy Spencer and Kurt Busch, who tangled before, tangled again with Kurt Busch, by far getting the worst end of it, and then for a couple of consecutive laps under caution, expressing his displeasure at Jimmy Spencer. Lap 51, it's Jeffrey Bodine with a wall pounder, not just to the outside wall and the safer barrier, but to the inside wall as well. He's okay after that rough doubleheader. Jeremy Mayfield's day ended with an engine failure. At lap 79, lap 97, Casey Atwood gets loose underneath another car. Ricky Rudd taps him. He crashes into the outside wall. And that is where we are now, the 6th caution flag of this Brickyard 400. Now you can breathe.
And the cars are getting ready for a restart. Bill Elliott still the leader. Jeff Gordon now in 2nd spot. Mark Martin in 3rd.
And by the way, Casey Atwood has just been released from the infield medical center. He's fine.
On the inside, Jimmy Spencer, the 41, still a lap down after an unscheduled pit stop. Has not been able to get it back.
Sterling Marlin, the championship leader, 34th out of 35 cars on the lead lap. His point rival, Mark Martin, runs 3rd behind Elliott and Jeff Gordon. Tony Stewart's farther back than he's been all day, huh? Back in 6th place. See how his car behaves in traffic here.
Robbie Gordon goes by Ryan Newman. Takes a spot away, and here comes Tony Stewart on the inside of Newman. And they got him on the ropes. They're just going to keep pounding him as Ricky Craven tries to drive to the inside of Newman.
Dale Jarrett looking for some running room.
He goes by the 32 car on the outside, didn't he?
Yes, he did. I think Ricky gave way because Dale had the angle into the corner. You know what I'm saying back there in that?
Whatever the reason, he did give those guys some room to get in there.
Jarrett's coming. Okay, how about this? Ricky Craven's team gets its engines from Dale Jarrett's team.
Okay.
I don't know.
And a battle for 3rd spot is Robbie Gordon at 31 car. Oh, he gets the corner too deep. Can Mark get by? No.
Tell you what, for having a fractured left heel, Robbie Gordon has driven a very fine race.
Well, that last set of tires that Robbie got before this last pit stop, we watched the car through the corners, and the car looked as good as anybody. So they got the thing down where they want it right now.
Farther back.
Oh, almost some contact between the 99 and 12. Jeff Burton in the 99, 12 with Ryan Newman.
So be from 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and on back. And Dale Jarrett continues to move. Working past the lap car of Jimmy Spencer, now with Tony Stewart behind him. And Mark Martin, the next one ahead. Dale Jarrett has finished in the top 5 in the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship the last 5 straight years. Driving for Robert Yates, his average start and finish in Indianapolis in 8 races is 10th. Plus, he's won here twice. Cheese power as Matt Kenseth gets his yellow car moving toward the front. Kenseth from Cambridge, Wisconsin.
And Todd Bodine still continuing to run well in that 26 car. He's on the inside of Spencer. He's in 10th spot now, Todd Bodine.
Boy, that camera's a great illustration of just how fast you're going here.
200 mile an hour at the end of the straightaways. Pretty fast.
Ryan Newman continuing to kind of lumber along there, losing a few spots since the restart.
And Johnny Benson has taken his car to the garage area.
Remember his crew chief, James Ince, Benson's crew chief, told us way back when he got damaged on that first pit stop that their day was ruined. They were just riding around for points. Look at this. Some serious blocking going on back here. Is that Kevin Harvick? Yeah.
That's Kevin Harvick, 29. Jimmy Johnson in 48.
And Rusty Wallace in the deuce.
That's 12th, 13th. Rusty is 14th. Blaney in the 77, the yellow car 15th. And comes Parker. Here we go. Whoa. There's some serious blocking now. And Mark Martin and DJ both go by Robbie Gordon.
Dale's going to stick his nose right up under Mark's back bumper, see if he can chase him up the racetrack.
Whoa. Tony Stewart goes by Robbie Gordon and just drives up right behind the 6 car.
See those white gloves that Dale Jarrett wears, his fireproof racing gloves? Hand was working that steering wheel when he went under Mark Martin. So Jarrett to 3rd, Martin to 4th, Tony Stewart to 5th.
Seen a lot of blocking today.
Here comes Jeff Burton behind them on Ricky Craven. Pick up that spot. Matt Kenseth will follow him through. Some action going on here. But it's all behind Bill Elliott, who continues to lead laps. Manufacture-wise, you got Dodge leading, Chevrolet second, a couple of Fords and a Pontiac rounding out the top 5.
4 different manufacturers in the top 5. That's not too bad. All of a sudden, Robbie Gordon seems to be struggling just a mite in that 31 car.
Yeah, we were just talking about how good the car looked the last time. I don't know if they took on and then put right side tires on that last pit stop and lost the balance.
But you remember that we heard a radio intercept from him talking about he thought he damaged the right front fender. We were looking at it under a caution flag. We couldn't see any damage from up here.
Now the damage, there is some damage right below the right where it looks like his right headlight is. And it looks like he maybe tapped somebody in pit lane, but that shouldn't really affect aerodynamics. Marty?
So Wally on the radio just a moment ago, he told the team, sorry guys, I got into the 6 just a little bit, meaning he hit Mark Martin on the racetrack, and he's really loose right now. This is one of the few cars, Robbie Gordon's car, that has been loose today. Most all the other cars are tight.
Going to have us a fight for the runner-up spot here in a minute. Dale Jarrett's powering toward the front.
Yeah, as I said earlier, oh, look at him, he just turned under that 24. Whoa! Sideways.
That is loose.
Glove saving a beauty for Dale Jarrett at 185 miles an hour.
That was big.
Little air off the spoiler thing when he got under Gordon there.
Yeah, it must have been, because he just had so much momentum. He turned under there, and it definitely got sideways.
Aerial views at Indianapolis, courtesy of the United States Army, an army of one. Now Mark Martin.
Look at Mark do the same thing to Jeff Gordon. Come off the corner and just power up alongside the 24 car.
But 24, he doesn't have the rubber these other two cars have right now.
Right, no tires for him on that last stop.
But guess what? I don't know how you can afford to get any tires the rest of the day, because, trust me, these guys aren't going to put any tires on.
Yeah.
Talking about Mark Martin. Bill, what are they saying down the 24 pit?
Robbie Loomis, Jeff Gordon's crew chief, doesn't want to have to take tires, but may be forced to. And the situation is Jeff doesn't want to take two. They took fuel only last time for track position to get him in a situation where they could go on just one more stop. And the fact that they had to get out of all that traffic, which was making the car a handful to drive. It was a calculated gamble. Looked good early. Still doesn't look too bad. It all depends on whether or not we go green or get the caution.
I don't know, Bill. I think not taking tires is going to maybe bite them in the end, because right now he is sliding all over the racetrack. If he's got to go 50 laps on those tires, he's going to have his hands full. And he just mentioned that when somebody gets behind him, he's jumped.
Yeah, he had no choice, though, because he was in all that traffic and way too tight earlier. So they did the best thing they could do to get track position. Like I said, you had to either stay where you were or try to improve your position, and you never could. You stand still and Winston Cup racing, you're getting past.
No, you're right. That's a gamble that they had to take, and they took it, but it's going to be tough for him.
Oh, what would you have done, though, if you were back there in 19th in this? Look, we're just going to give you fuel. You're going to come out second.
Well, I didn't hear all that, but you're right. Track position is everything right now. We talk about it every single weekend, but it really depends on how your car's handling first. You've got to give the car what it needs. If your car's not handling that good and you come in and just take fuel for track position, believe me, that car ain't going to get handled any better because you didn't put tires on it. So it really depends on what the driver says on how that car is.
And as you saw from the graphic, by far, Jeff Gordon in the longest winless streak of his Winston Cup career. Right now, things aren't looking good for stopping that streak today. Gordon back to 7th place after losing those 3 spots, but Bill Elliott continues to dominate the 9th running of the Brickyard 400.
Mike Ford is on the verge of possibly winning the biggest race of his career. A big decision earlier in the week to bring this race car that won at Pocono and also won at Homestead last fall to Indy. Right now he's contemplating what strategy to play out in his final stop. Tires, no tires. Right now Bill is happy with the car, but he did say there was some buildup on the tires. They're looking at the air pressure possibly in the front for the final stop. No changes on the 88 car. Dale Jarrett, former Brickyard 400 winner since lap 51. The car was a little bit loose. They did make a wedge adjustment. The car is eating, moving up to the front. He got into Ricky Craven on pit road. They were concerned about some possible damage, but the car is all right. Meanwhile, Mark Martin hasn't said a whole lot on the radio, trying to win the Brickyard 400 for himself and Jack Roush. Best finish here is second. And keep in mind, Mark Martin has never won the championship. He could win the Brickyard 400 and make a huge gain toward that dream. Since he started the 1991 season, 348 races have been run. He's been the point leader at the end of only 2.
Tony Stewart runs in 4th, and he's pretty happy with the race car right now. They have said not much on the radio. The car has bounced back and forth between loose and tight all day long. They are talking about 2 tires, maybe no tires on the last stop, and he's made no mistake about it. This is the race he wants to win, Matt.
Meanwhile, back in 5th is Matt Kenton, trying to overcome some bad luck here at the Brickyard, even been wrecked on pit road. The car was loose. They made an air pressure adjustment to try to tighten up that 17 car. Bill.
On the last pit stop, Jeff Burton took 4 tires. His crew chief, Frank Stoddard, put the setup back to where it was at the beginning of the race and loosened him up from there. Burton on the radio moments ago, car's getting tighter and tighter and tighter. Matt?
Meanwhile, Todd Bodine hasn't said a whole lot about that 26 car that's currently running back in the 7th position. They're looking at their final pit stop somewhere around lap 137 to 139. Bill.
Well, this is what Wally was waiting for. I talked it over with the 24 bunch after Wally paraded me moments ago. They had no choice. They had to take fuel only. Even if they fall back to 10th or 12th or 13th, they're still 6 to 7 spots ahead of where they were, and you can win from there if you get a break. Marty.
Robbie Gordon started this run a little loose off, and he's starting to push the longer he runs. He has never led a NASCAR Winston Cup Series race here. He desperately wants to win at Indianapolis in any race car. About 20 more laps, and Robbie Gordon will be making his last stop of the day, Matt.
Ricky Craven trying for a second straight top 10 finish here at the Brickyard, trying for some consistency as well. As crew chief Mike Beam told me, they have done just about everything to that race car. Open up the shocks, close the shocks. The car was loose, but now that the car's in the top 10, Ricky says it's really come alive, Dave.
Jimmy Johnson got 4 tires and a track bar adjustment on his last stop. It's better. He radioed in, I've got my line figured out. They radioed back, well, don't wait till the end. Go get him. He's moved from 13th to 11th. Marty?
Ryan Newman right now, the set of tires he's on, Dave, are scuffed tires, meaning they've been run before. Next set will be stickers because Ryan does not like this set of tires. Restarted 4th. He has fallen all the way down to the 12th position. On the radio, Roger Penske, his car owner, says, be patient. You still have a good car. And Roger should know he has won 12 Indianapolis 500s. Kevin Harvick following him on the racetrack. Kevin just a little bit tight out there right now. They were going to try the fuel strategy. It's not going to work. They are going to have to stop one more time no matter what. They were one of the few cars earlier that could go all the way. This team has put together 3 straight top 10s looking for their 4th, Dave.
Artie, Rusty's boys had a busy stop last time. The car was tight, 4 tires, wedge in the right rear, a rubber out of the left rear, and they removed the tear off from the front. Bad news, the car is still tight. Marty?
Steve Park sits in the 15th spot, and if he finishes there, this will be his best finish of the season. The indelible images from last week at Pocono of him flipping upside down. This is a great comeback for Steve Park. I talked to him this morning. He is talking to DEI President or Vice President Ty Norris, working on renegotiating his contract, maybe staying there for a few more years, Dave.
Marty, earlier in the day, Dave Blaney's crew changed right side tires 2 times in a row. The first time it was okay, the second time very bad. They took on 4, it helped the car. They took on 4 last time. Now they can play tire strategy at the end of the race, 2 or none. As for Bobby Labonte, former winner here at the Brickyard, he has gotten his car to the point to where they're only making minor changes on his car. Now it's very loose, but they put 4 tires on it, and it's back to where it was. He qualified and started 40th today. The car is running much better than it has all weekend long. Alan?
Oh, Ricky Craven has got his hands full.
Oh, he sure does. They're losing position after position. As a matter of fact, down in turn 1, he's lucky he didn't lose the race car.
That's like 7 cars that just went by him. They were 3 wide down the front stretch, and then a few more. Here comes Ward Burton to pass him.
And he's still not at the speed. I don't know if something's happened to the car. He just lost his momentum down in the corner.
So he was running 10th. Who is that? Ward Burton that just went by him. Now he's 18th, Matt.
Matt, what's going on with the 32?
Benny, he came on the radio and says, I think I may have a flat. I think I may have a rear tire going flat.
So does he pit?
Well, he can probably make it. Well, I don't know if he can make it the rest of the way or not. That's the problem. He's really in no man's land. He'd love to run a couple more laps to be assured he can make it the rest of the way.
That's probably what he's doing. He's got 37 laps to go in the race. And maybe he's just trying to get to his fuel window and then come in under the green flag. All right, so Craven continuing to struggle.
And when that happens, if you think you have a flat tire, BP, a lot of times you have to bat a lap or 2 trying to feel it out because you don't want the thing to blow. So that looks like what he's doing right there.
And while all that's been going on, you've missed not a thing at the head of the pack. It has been a red kind of day at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Bill Elliott has led 77 of the 124 laps that have been run so far. NASCAR on NBC from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway with the 9th running of the Brickyard 400. And the race has gone under the caution flag. Once again, yellow flag number 7 in this race. Elliott Sadler with problems and has dropped debris on the speedway.
Yeah, right front tire is a big problem right there. Got some damage on the left front fender as well. What's happening down there, Dave?
Well, they came in and they changed that right front tire. Now, this is a weekend that had so much hope for Elliott after he had a great car at Pocono last week. He brought that same car to the Brickyard this weekend, thinking it would be perfect. It has not worked out that way. It's not run as well as they thought. And this just makes his day even longer. Wally?
Okay. Yep, sure does. Maybe we can get a look at what happened. Here we are riding with Elliott. Looks like he just had that right front tire going down for a while.
Right front flat, right front flat.
Got down in turn one and he turned the steering wheel, but with that flat tire, it wouldn't turn.
And a bad break for Ricky Craven when the caution came out. He had made a green flag pit stop and now is caught a lap down by the yellow flag for Elliott Sadler's problems.
They're going to have to come back in and either rip that off, that side skirt, or attach it back on somehow.
All right, now 33. There'll be 32 laps to go when the field comes to the start-finish line. We should see everybody pit here, and these will be the final stops of the race.
That's right. How many will change 2? How many will change none? How many will change 4? Very interesting.
The pit crews have been sitting in the 90-plus degree heat all day long. Now they have to put out a peak performance to try and get their man out in front, perhaps the winning track position at Indianapolis. Matt Yoakum.
Bill Elliott leads the parade down pit road for what could be their final pit stop today. Bill Elliott said his race car is a little bit tight as a 6-car Mark Martin hits and Dale Jarrett hits. A wedge adjustment on the 88 car Dale Jarrett. They pull the tear off. A 2-tire stop for Jarrett. A 2-tire stop for Mark Martin. Elliott, they were going to go with 4 tires, take a half a pound out of both front tires.
And Dale Jarrett has a catch can hung in the back of his car. He's got to come back in. Oh, man.
Lose all that. There's the can right there. BP's talking about. They're going to come back down pit lane, take that can out, and he's going to lose all those spots.
And the penalty for taking the pit equipment with him out of the pit stall, he's going to have to start at the end of the line on the restart. That's going to put Dale Jarrett back in 33rd place.
Oh, man, oh, man. And here's a gentleman who had a race car that could have won this race. Well, I don't know. That might be a stretch beating Bill Elliott, but he looked to be the class of the field after Elliott.
Wiggle it. Wiggle it harder.
And there we see the gas man. The catch can is holding that gas can. They're making a chassis adjustment. Oh, whoa, no!
They weren't expecting, I don't know that they were expecting him to leave like that. Because the gas man went back for the second can of fuel. Yeah. See, the catch can man was holding both the catch can and the fuel can.
And something's wrong with Dave Blaney. He has a left side tire smoking as we see the catch can laying on the backstretch.
Oh, that's frustrating. Well, he shook the can off, but he still has to go back to
Yeah, he's still going to get a penalty, because once you leave your pit box with the equipment attached to the car, that's it. It's a penalty.
Tough break.
You'll have to pit.
All right, safety workers retrieve the catch can, and you heard the message being relayed to Dale Jarrett by his crew chief, Todd Parrott. You're going to have to come in the pit.
And that might be the toughest thing he's ever had to say to Jarrett in his life. You got to pit.
Now, Elliott's sitting there, 4 tires, right? Go back and take another look at the pit stop here.
Now watch, see, the guy that's holding the fuel can is the catch can man.
That's right, so he's holding a can while the guy goes back to get the second can. The jack goes down.
And see, the other can is just coming into the picture.
And I tell you, he made a valiant effort to get that catch can out of that car. He dove for it. Oh, he almost got it. He almost grasped it as the car left.
Okay, we need to start strapping these things to their wrists. What do you think about that, BP?
No, he'd be dragging him down pit road.
Oh, no, let's not go there. Oh, boy.
Oh, this guy's crushed.
So a mistake after racing hard all day to get into position to win is going to cost Dale Jarrett, because now there are only 31 laps to go. And as I said,
it's a lot of cars to pass.
Yeah, he's got to go all the way back.
As I was saying earlier. So we got Elliott sitting there with 4 brand new tires, right? Is anybody in front of him? The tires?
Bill Elliott?
Yeah.
We'll follow up on that. Let's take a commercial here while they're still under caution. How's that?
see Ricky wiggling on the car there too, and he probably, when he restarted, he probably spun the tires.
And Jimmy Spencer looked like he got into the left rear of Ricky.
Check it out, Tony Stewart down below the line on the apron, goes to the lead on Mark Martin.
And looks like Raven may have a flat tire. He's very, very high down in 1 and 2. And here comes Rusty Wallace for second spot. Harvick for third.
Harvick looking to the inside of Mark Martin as they go to 3. Rusty, I'm sorry.
Marty, those guys, the 20 pit crew, got to be very excited right now.
Well, the move paid off for Tony Stewart. He laid back on the restart on purpose. In fact, he almost laid back too much, Benny, because Rusty Wallace nearly passed him going into 1, but it paid off because he had a lot of momentum when he hit turn 2. That's how he passed Mark Martin.
Oh, man, Rusty Wallace drove that 2 car down in turn 1 incredibly deep, trying to stay in front of that 29 car. What they said to the 2 pit, Dave?
Well, they're saying they want to get his first win here, obviously, which would be great. They took on 2 tires last time, still a little bit tight, air pressure and the right rear to help that car turn through the corners.
And what about Bill Elliott, who's dominated the race so far and has the fresher tires? He's still back in 5th place. Report from pit road is that it is a right rear tire problem for Ricky Craven. Rusty Wallace putting pressure on Tony Stewart for the race lead. 25 laps to go. Rusty Wallace has finished second in the Brickyard 400 on 2 different occasions, 1995 and 2000. He started this race in 35th place.
Oh, here he goes.
There he goes.
Look
Not
in.
enough.
And Tony Stewart shuts the door.
But that's probably where you see Rusty make the passes. Coming out of these between the short chute. If he can get underneath Tony, that's what he's going to try to do.
Bill Elliott by Mark Martin to 4th.
Right here. If he stands on the gas and gets a bite, quite enough. But he's looking for the setup right now.
See Ricky Craven on the apron of the racetrack, leaving the pits, and here comes Rusty Wallace for the lead of the Brickyard 400.
Got a little run in the draft on Stewart there down the backstretch. St. Louis, Missouri's Rusty Wallace out in front at Indianapolis.
In the meantime, Elliott stuck in the 4th spot. Took it from Mark Martin.
And here comes Bill Elliott on Kevin Harvick for 3rd.
Nice and smooth now. Big man, good job.
That's not what Stewart wanted to see in his mirror right there.
No, that's it. Or Rusty Wallace, because they all realize Bill Elliott, the 9 car, is still, I think, the car to beat.
With the best tires.
With the best tires, regardless of the fact that the 2 cars lead in the 20 and 2nd spot. I think we all realize Elliott is the guy they have to beat.
Quick update, Dale Jarrett has picked up 8 positions since the restart, but he's only in 20th. There's the gap from Jarrett up to leader Rusty Wallace, while Bill Elliott closes in. Here's the race for 4th. Kevin Harvick and Mark Martin. Harvick, a native of Bakersfield, California. That is the hometown of Indy 500 4-time winner Rick Mears.
It's just a matter of time, BP.
Before Bill Elliott goes up and gets these guys?
Yep, because he's about 3/10 of a second faster. And you see Tony Stewart pointing him by.
Is he pointing by, or is he? Yeah, he is. Okay.
Yeah. And Tony, and that's a smart move. Tony knows he's on 4 tires, so he knows he's not going to be able to stay in front of him.
Maybe if Bill gets up and messes with Rusty, they'll come back to him.
Yeah, well, he's probably hoping that Elliott gets up and he and Rusty get together and he can win the Brickyard 400.
Well, he's also thinking about getting second spot from Rusty because he knows if he gets around Rusty and if he puts Rusty in that high groove, Tony will be able to make up the time and maybe make up the pass.
Well, no surprise. Bill Elliott's the fastest car on the racetrack that lap. It's been that way about all day. I know it's getting close to college football season, but Go Big Red does not just stand for Nebraska football right now.
I would guess some concern in the Elliott pits, Ray Evernham teams. Jeremy Mayfield, his teammate, lost an engine in that 19 car. Exactly what happened, I don't know, but that has to be a little bit of a concern.
Next Sunday, the road course at Watkins Glen for the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. We'll be there to bring it to you on NBC. For now, though, 21 laps to go. Make it 20 as they come to the start-finish line in this year's Brickyard 400. Matt, Bill Elliott still closing in.
Well, Alan, a couple laps ago, in fact, I did ask Mike Ford, I said, did you ever find out what was the culprit on the 19 car? He said, we're focused on our own as a crew chief, looking for his first win here as an owner.
Yeah, there's not much you can do. You know, if you knew what happened in the motor in the 19 car, there's not much you can do from the pit box.
Change for position. Kevin Harvick overtaken for fourth.
And maybe fifth as well. Yes, Kenseth goes by for fifth.
Mark Martin picking up a spot. His rival for the championship, Sterling Marlin, remember with that wounded engine, he's back in 31st place. Robert Gordon still hanging in there, but Rusty Wallace has got an absolute mirror full of Bill Elliott. And for all the talk about the youth movement in NASCAR Winston Cup racing this year, when it comes time for one of the sport's biggest races, it's the wily old veterans up front trying to settle things. Rusty Wallace, 45 years old, 1989 Winston Cup champion. Bill Elliott in that 9 car, 46 years old, the 1988 series champion.
And when you talk to the crew, to Mike Ford, to Ray Evernham, the owner of the team, everybody on this 9 team, and you mentioned Bill Elliott, they cannot brag on him enough. Just what a tremendous job he's doing for them this year, driving this race car.
And you know, and Ray says, Bill's having fun. He's fun to be around. He's having fun driving the race car. Even spread across the ages for race winners this year.
And Bill Elliott is running very, very low down in the corners. Number one, he can do that because his car is handling well. Number two, it helps his car because he's able to at least get some air on that left front fender. Watch how low he goes. Rusty Wallace is 2 or 3 feet higher than he is. That allows some air to come back, get that left front fender, and give Elliott some downforce.
You got to run there.
Now, you've been watching very intently, Wally, these last few laps. Any weakness there in Rusty Wallace's lap that Bill Elliott can exploit here?
Only what Benny just pointed out, that he can run lower, getting into the corner. He gets his left side tires down right almost on the grass, and Rusty's running a little bit higher. Eventually, he'll wear Rusty out, and he'll be able to turn the car underneath Rusty and get up beside him.
See, there you can see it's 4 or 5 feet that time. And each time that he does that, he gets a tremendous run on Rusty Wallace off these corners.
Jeff Gordon started 27th and won here last year. Rusty Wallace took the green flag in 35th place today. Want to keep an eye on this battle for the lead in case Elliott pounces, but we'll let you know Mark Martin has started falling back. He's no longer in 4th position. He's slipped back to 16th place. Matt, what's up there?
Alan, Sterling Marlin's hitting the points. May not be as bad as he thought. Mark Martin came on the radio and said, I've got something wrong with the car, possibly an engine problem. I asked Jack Roush, what is the problem? He said, we just don't know. He's fading and fading fast.
Wow. Opportunity lost if you're Martin. I
Rusty's hanging in there. Bill Elliott better get it done.
He better get it done because those tires pretty soon are going to be about the same thing as Rusty Wallace's tires.
Exactly.
I'm trying to think, we've had one of these races played out just like this before, and I'm thinking it was the 96 race that Dale Jarrett won when he was chasing Ernie Irvin, his teammate. They ran like this, the two cars nose to tail, looked like Ernie was going to win the race, and then Ernie had one slip, and Jarrett pounced and ended up scoring the victory.
Was that when Ernie had the flat tire going down in turn 1?
Yeah, but I think that was because they hit each other in a short shoot.
Right. Yeah, I think Dale passed him. Ernie slipped and Dale got underneath him. How about Rusty, Dave?
Well, remember all day, guys, he's been complaining of a tight condition in that car, and that would account for his line through the corners, wouldn't it? If he was just a little bit tight still, he would run a little bit higher than Bill Elliott, would he not?
Yeah, that would have a lot to do with it. I think probably being cleaner air, maybe his car's a little bit better right now, but you're right, Dave. Running a little bit higher, may not be able to get that car turned down that low.
Rusty Wallace holds the distinction here at Indianapolis of leading the most laps in a race that he did not win. He led 110 laps of the race 2 years ago, wound up finishing second. Last year he started 37th, finished 4th in the Brickyard 400. Today he's run up from 35th to the lead, but he's got the dominant driver of the day on his back bumper, putting a lot of pressure on.
You know, the problem that Bill Elliott, we talked earlier, very early in the show about aerodynamic push. Getting behind the car and not being able to get all the air on the nose of the car to push it down and help it turn. And Elliott's in that very situation right now because he's running about 0.2 of a second slower now than he was when he was in front. Because that aero push has gotten him.
He's on him now.
Yeah.
But, you're right, Benny, and also it looked like Rusty moved down lower on the racetrack. Maybe to do that. Maybe to break some of the air up behind him. See if he does it here in 1 and 2. No, you can't get down there in 1 and 2, but before he was real low.
Mark Martin has fallen back to 21st place now, by the way. His crew, Matt Yoakum tells us from pit road, telling him to switch to the backup ignition, so he continues to struggle.
Yeah, Benny, he caught him quick, and then he's right at that gap. We're always talking about you can't close that gap because of that push, that aero push.
And Bill's doing all he can. He's going just as slow as he possibly can to get some air down there, to get some downforce, but it isn't quite enough.
Rusty Wallace trying to win one of NASCAR's biggest prizes in a very storied career, Bill.
Boy, you're not kidding, Alan, and he's been thinking about this day for a long time because they tested very well here and did not take the car they tested here last week to Pocono. If you talk to the guys on Rusty's team, they circled dates this year. Dates where they wanted to be in certain places on the racetrack and in the points. One of them was here, but now he's going to give up the lead.
Here comes Bill Elliott looking for the lead at Indianapolis, down the backstretch.
But Rusty's going to drive it in there. Is he going to back off? No, he has to. He has no choice. Elliott in front.
Listen to the fans as Bill Elliott retakes the lead.
And I tell you what, Bill Elliott just broke Rusty Wallace's heart right there.
Stay after, driver. Big day for us right here. Just keep after.
Billy Wilburn, crew chief for Rusty Wallace.
Oh, Rusty hung in there, though, on those 2 tires.
Was it 15 times Bill Elliott has been voted most popular driver in NASCAR by the fans. The redhead from Dawsonville, Georgia.
Wasn't it a couple of years ago that Bobby Labonte did exactly the same thing to Rusty Wallace? Passed him with just a few laps to go. Dave?
And Benny, one of his crew members, looked at me as we were watching the monitor down here, and he said, same thing as it was with Bobby Labonte, just shaking his head.
Bill Elliott's team has prepared an excellent race car. They have been dominant all day long. Watch their reaction as he made the pass on Rusty Wallace.
Go, Bill, atta boy. Evernham.
Think he's not still competitive?
You know, I went to the dentist a couple of weeks ago, and I was sitting there, And all of a sudden, the voice said, open wide. And I turned around. The voice didn't sound right. Ray Evernham was in the room next door to me. They'd given him a blue apron. And he came in with the fork and the whole 9 yards.
And now that Elliott's gotten out in front, he's pulling away from Rusty. And that's not a surprise. You talked about the aero push on Elliott's car while he was behind Rusty. Now that he's in clean air.
Yeah, now that he's in clean air, he's about 0.3 of a second quicker. Because he's got that grip back on the front of the car that's helping him turn. And he didn't have when he was following the two cars, Rusty.
A good day for Todd Bodine for a while is over. He has just taken the Discover Card machine to the garage. Elliott Sadler has also taken the Wood Brothers car into the garage. Where's Dale Jarrett? Remember, he restarted back in 28th place. He's picked his way to 12th.
That's very, very impressive.
Yeah. Another one whose Indianapolis dreams have been broken here today. He has had the pleasure of getting his name inscribed on the trophy featuring the famous brick. He was in position. He probably had the strongest car to challenge Bill Elliott. After that last run there before those pit stops, he was flying. Looked like he might have had the strongest challenge to Bill Elliott since Tony Stewart in the early laps, you know. But a pit stop mistake put a damper on their hopes for a Brickyard 400 win. Caution.
Oh, that's what Elliott needs to see, huh?
Caution flag is out with 8 laps to go.
And that's what Jarrett wanted to see.
Debris on the racetrack.
What a big break for Dale Jarrett.
That lets him catch up with, he's at 12th spot, and he conceivably in a couple laps could pick up 4 or 5 spots as fast as his car is.
Word is debris is in turn number 2 of this racetrack, and so we're going to reload for a real short sprint to the finish. We showed you Ray Evernham's reaction to Bill Elliott taking the lead. How about the crew's reaction to this caution flag coming out? I'm sure it's quite different.
Yeah.
That's Mike Ford, the crew chief.
Man, oh man, don't hurt yourself, Mike. And race it on, heck with it.
All right, now, when the pace car leads the field to the opening of pit road, there's going to be 6 laps to go. And 30 cars on the lead lap. That's
I guess there's the debris that
back straightaway. At the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, down to the final dramatic laps of the 2002 Brickyard 400. Here comes the field to the opening of pit road. Who's going to stop? Who's going to stay out?
I think some of the guys in the back will probably stop just so they can sneak a few positions with new tires. Don't you?
Well, Mark Martin, he's back in 29th. He's fallen back to 29th position. If there's something that the crew might be able to fix, he might make a stop. There comes Michael Waltrip, Ward Burton.
Ward Burton was in 13th place, so he's going to be the first one to pit, but there are going to be few takers.
Yeah.
All right, so since none of the front runners have stopped, let's take a minute to show you our Auto Trader move of the race. Can it be anything else but Bill Elliott reassuming the lead?
I don't think so.
He worked him hard.
He got right up on that back bumper. I think he got rusted just a little bit loose. He had to go up the hill, which allowed him to turn under him and take the lead.
That was at lap 149. 6 laps ago.
And Martin Rusty did not want to give up that lead.
No, he did. Pounded on the steering wheel. Not again.
Not again.
So, Bill Elliott dominated the race so far, but we've seen these things slip away from people before. Is it going to be his name inscribed on that trophy as winner of this year's Brickyard 400? It would be fitting if it is.
You never know in one of these deals.
He's led 87 of 154 laps so far. And what I mean by it would be fitting is if you look at the people who've won this race in the past, they're really the drivers who've dominated the sport in the 80s and the 90s and at the beginning of this new millennium. You've got Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Gordon and Ricky Rudd and Dale Jarrett and Bobby Labonte. They've really been the dominant drivers of this sport for the last 6 or 8 years, and Elliott fits in that company.
Oh, yes.
And this race kind of has a significance, or has the last 4 years anyway, as far as the championship is concerned. The last 4 drivers to win this race have gone on to win the Winston Cup. Matt Yoakum is down in Bill Elliott's pit.
Well, Mike Ford, this could end up being the biggest win of your career. Could you believe the caution came out?
No, not really. You know, a few laps to go. Big a race as this is and a debris caution at the end, it's kind of hard to believe. But, you know, Bill's been good on restarts all day with the Dodge dealers and Intrepid RT. And hopefully he can get a good start here and get through 1 and 2 good and be able to pull back away and, you know, hopefully come to the checker flag first.
Bill Elliott's won the Daytona 500, the Southern 500, and Dave, he's looking to win the Brickyard 400.
And, of course, Rusty Wallace is looking to win as well. His crew chief is Billy Wilburn. Billy, what advice did you give Rusty to try to help him get back around the 9 car?
Just make nice, smooth corners. Our car's been too tight all day, and right now track position was the only way we could really make this thing work. And, I mean, we've adjusted on it all day. And just make nice, smooth corners, get a good restart here. It's a single-file restart inside 10 to go, so hopefully he'll stay right behind that 9 car, get a good, clean start. We can bring this thing home in top 2, make up some ground we lost last week at Pocono.
We'll be watching. Marty?
Well, Dave, back and forth, the hometown hero, Tony Stewart, his crew chief, Greg Zippadelli. Tony got the best restart last time. Can they get another great restart this time?
Yeah, we need another one. No, Home Depot Pontiac's been pretty good all weekend. We had a little scare yesterday. We went to happy hour. It was real bad loose, and I think it might have been just that set of tires we had on because we kind of went back to the way we started yesterday and tightened it up a little bit, and we're just too tight. We kind of needed to just start that way, and my fault. The shame. Pit crew's been awesome all day. We've been fighting for track position. Home Depot Pontiac, hopefully we get a top 5 out of this.
Too tight right now for Tony Stewart. Matt?
Robbie, can your man get by the 2 of them?
I believe in Matt Kenseth. We're going to give it everything we got. That's what we're here for.
He restarts in 3rd. They've been looking for some consistency and good things. Maybe some good things are going to happen today.
All right, the restart's going to come with 4 laps to go.
And it's real important to keep these tires clean right now because you can't afford even any wheel spin. Once they drop the green flag, if you get a little bit of wheel spin, these guys are going to shoot by. So it's real important to keep tires clean.
I wondered when Elliott was going to start weaving back and forth to try to clear some of that debris off his tires. And he did. We can see all the cars on the racetrack weaving back and forth, trying to get those tires, as Wallace said, as clean, as clear as possible.
All right, driver, take me through your restart checklist. You're Bill Elliott.
Well, I'm going to be looking in my mirror as much as I am out the windshield because I want to get the jump on Rusty. So I'm going to be looking, and I'm going to be looking at the flagger, and hopefully I can anticipate that when he drops that green, I'll at least get a second of throttle before the guy behind me.
4 laps to go in the Brickyard 400 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Bill Elliott has led 88 of the 155 laps that have been run, but if he can't lead these final 4, it'll all have been for naught.
See the cone on pit wall on the inside? Down here, that is the restart point. When Bill Elliott gets there, I think he's a little early. But the green flag is waving.
And a good jump for Elliott on Rusty Wallace.
A great jump.
That might have just won in the race.
That is unbelievable. Look how far he's pulled away from the 2 car already.
Ward Burton on pit road for an unscheduled stop as the field motors on. 14 more corners for Bill Elliott.
He had that figured out ahead of time.
Had my calculator smoking. Steady as she goes, those hands on the wheel. That's just got to be a race car driver's dream to have a car that's performed as well as this one has all day.
Especially in a place like this. And he's run that car on the bottom all day long, and that's it. That is the key here.
Tony Stewart about to lose a couple of spots. There goes Harvick and Ryan Newman alongside. And here goes Newman on the inside of Harvick.
4th place. And Newman's going to get it for now.
Steve Park.
Yeah, where'd he come from?
And here comes Jeff Gordon on the inside of both of them.
Tony Stewart, who started the day on pole position, is getting shuffled back in the field.
There's something wrong with Tony's car right now. I don't know exactly what. It's like he's got a tire going flat or something.
Well, he had Steve Park on his bumper going through 4 there, and I'm sure it was making him real loose there, but he is falling back a lot in spots.
Nice day for Steve Park after that terrible crash 1 week ago at Pocono. Running in 7th place right now. Here comes Dale Jarrett trying to make up those positions in the last few laps.
Up to 10th.
From 28th. After the pit road problem back at lap 128. And now it's down to 1 lap for Bill Elliott at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Down the main straightaway, 275,000 fans looking on as Elliott rides through the canyon of grandstands and takes the white flag. Final lap of the Brickyard 400.
And the fans are cheering Bill Elliott on. As he comes to turn 2 down the backstretch.
One of the sport's most popular drivers ever. Elliott looking for career victory number 43 and his first here on these hallowed grounds. He's dominated the race today. He will have led 93 of 160 laps. Now he's 1 corner away from an Indianapolis Winners' Trophy. Dale Earnhardt, Dale Jarrett, Jeff Gordon, and now Bill Elliott joins the list of winners of the Brickyard 400 in Indy. A dominating victory for Dodge in the Brickyard. Elliott wins by 1.2 seconds over Rusty Wallace.
And look at Bill got that winning that down, acknowledging those fans.
Elliott, a winner on the Winston Cup circuit for a 2nd straight week. He won last Sunday at Pocono. There's his wife, Cindy, son Chase. Point me to victory lane. And the winner's share of the $7.4 million Brickyard 400 purse. Matt Yoakum is with the winning team owner, Ray Evernham.
Ray Evernham hugging just about everybody down here. A huge bear hug from Mike Ford. An old open-wheel modified guy. You won here twice as a crew chief, Ray. Can you describe what it means to win here as a car owner?
I really can't. You know, I mean, I just can't. I owe an awful lot to these guys and the people at Dodge. It just means a lot, man.
This place is very special, isn't it?
It really is.
Ray Evernham fighting hard to find the words to describe what it means to win this special race.
I have never seen Ray Evernham speechless in my life, but he was.
That says it all about what it means to win here. Bill Elliott still making a slow victory lap around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, soaking it in. The adoration of the crowd after winning the 2002 running of the Brickyard 400. Here's how they ran today at Indy. Elliott with his 2nd straight win on the Winston Cup circuit. Rusty Wallace has to settle for 2nd here again. 3rd time he's finished as the runner-up in this race.
As we check 11 through 20, look, all these cars still in the lead lap.
Tony Stewart wound up 12th after his problems in the closing laps. Dale Jarrett wound up 10th, by the way. Mark Martin and Sterling Marlin, championship duo, both had problems today, wound up 27th and 28th.
And look, all these cars are still in the lead lap. We get to 31st and we see Jimmy Spencer, the first car, a lap down. He tried all day to get that lap back, never could.
10 drivers failed to finish. No one injured in any of the incidents today, and that's how they ran in the 9th running of the Brickyard 400.
Well, yet again, second place for Rusty Wallace at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And tell me about, first of all, Bill Elliott passing you and then the last restart, Rusty.
Yeah, when Bill passed me, I was just getting too loose. I was tight all day long. The last stop, we too tired it, took a bunch of wedge out, put a bunch of air in the right rear tire, and the old hot rod took off. And I said, man, I tell you, we were smoking down the straightaway with big horsepower, and I said, I don't think he can catch me. And then with 10 laps to go, I got up off of turn 2, and I got loose, and he stuck his nose underneath there. Then the arrow push kicked in, and I couldn't do nothing.
And then 35th to second for Rusty Wallace. Bill Weber's in victory lane with today's winner.
And it is an emotional, excited, and just thrilled Bill Elliott to be in victory lane at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And they talked about how this guy might be tired. They questioned if some of these guys could go the distance. No doubt about it. Bill Elliott is fresh and victorious and a winner at the Brickyard. Hey, you said before the race you didn't know where your resume would go from here, but how about this one, Awesome Bill?
I'll tell you what, these guys, when we came here and tested, we worked so hard on race stuff, and I'll tell you, every lap I drove that race car paid off. We run 125 laps the first day and 170 the second, so I done run my 2 races before I got here. But I'm so proud of these guys and what they've done and what they've accomplished. It makes my job awful easy, but I'll tell you what, it says a lot for the guys here and all the guys back at the shop that put these things under me week in and week out.
A great Bill Elliott, Rusty Wallace battle for the win.
Man, Rusty was tough. His old pace to go down that straightaway, but, you know, I kept working on him. I felt like if I ever get to him, I'd be okay, and I finally got to him where I got him a little loose and was able to power under.
Bill, where does it fit in, a win at Indianapolis?
This is the greatest, man. This is the greatest.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Rick Allen back here with Steve Letarte and Jeff Burton. A great win for future Hall of Famer Bill Elliott, and the only win for Dodge at Indy.
Yeah, I mean, a huge win for Dodge. You know, they hired Ray Everham to own a race team, and he went and got Bill Elliott. That combination was strong all year long, sat on the pole at Daytona. But by the time they got to the middle summer months, they were strong at Pocono and backed it up again at the Brickyard.
Yeah, that was a resurgence of Bill Elliott's career. I mean, you know, he really hadn't done a whole lot. As you just said, he went to Pocono and he won that race, and he came here and went to Indy, won the race. So not only was it putting Dodge in victory lane, but it was kind of like, hey, Bill Elliott can still do it. It was a really resurgence for him.
It was the first win for Bill Elliott at Indy, but also he had been the most popular driver forever. So a very popular win amongst the fans, too.
Oh, no question. Bill is such a personable person. He's very humble. You know, you sit down and talk to Bill. He's just like, you know, just like anybody else, just a normal guy. Doesn't want to be treated special. So everybody liked him. The competitors liked him. And when you see a guy like that, that's a big name, very down-to-earth guy, and he wins a marquee race, everybody feels good about it.
Yeah, when you go back and watch these races, it always is exciting to me to see the people on the team, because now where they are now, you had Mike Ford in the pit box to win the Brickyard. Fast forward to all those wins Mike got with Denny Hamlin. Ray Everham has moved on through TV and now helps at Hendrick Motorsports. You know, all these people have put together all these great careers. It's exciting to go back and watch these races and see where they all began.
The bell rung in Dawsonville for Awesome Bill.